Hello, hello, everybody. What is up? It is June 17th, 8 p.m. here over at the Pacific Northwest in a little town called Bellingham, Washington. And it is another episode of Gaming Academy. Welcome back, y'all. If you guys are new here, this is the place to be at 8 p.m. And if you guys are coming back for another session, welcome to session 36. Wow, I can't believe we actually did 36 of these already. So I'm totally hype. So, well, this episode is jam packed with many people. It's going to be a wild ride. So, I've made space for everybody to get their piece in. There's going to be a lot of discussion tonight. So, I am excited to introduce everybody tonight. So, anyway, tonight, class is officially in session and we are ready to rock and roll. And this one's going to hit harder than a flying elbow from Jimmy Lee. That's right. Welcome to episode 36, guys. With our co-host Nick won't be here tonight. He's become a proud daddy and he's on daddy duty. But I did what any good final boss would do. I started assembling a team. Well, first I called Blazing Ace. Of course, he's my man, holding it down as always with precision and power and way too many combo strings memorized because he played Killer Instinct the other day and that was pretty fun. Then I summoned a returning legend, Oliver Campbell. And the reality stone of podcasting is always bending perspective and dropping fire takes like he does. But that wasn't enough. We had NoShoes return tonight, bringing soul balance and the kind of gamer wisdom that makes you question everything you thought you knew everything about couch co-op. And finally, a blast from the past, 50% of DaHooligans, and emerging from the pixelated void of the early 2000s like a secret unlockable character, we got Thomas Duder, author of The Things, ready to drop his fists and some of his philosophy. So, no quick bites tonight, no tech segment, just pure unfiltered discussion mode. And tonight's rhetorical is going to be a little bit different. Is the beat 'em up genre actually evolving, or are we just reliving the past one uppercut at a time? Strap in, folks, power up and ready. Let's walk right and punch expectations right in the face. Let's introduce everybody in the podcast tonight. With that said, let me introduce Blazing Ace Nelson. What is up, homie?
3, 6. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, class. Good to see you. We got a packed roster tonight. I am so hyped to be back on with everybody, especially, it's a Hooligans reunion. It's going to get stupid.
That's true. You didn't see. I think I even surprised you with that one. Right?
Yes, you did. I'm like,
I did.
wait,
Yeah.
what?
I went back in time, and then try to grab all the secret characters I can find for this episode. So I don't know how I did it, but I pulled it off. So also,
that's DLC that's worth it,
right? It was inspired by your stream from yesterday, so I wanted to get troops and also.
I'm glad I could help.
Killer Instinct. So, all right. So, I'd like to welcome back our main man from last week, Oliver. Welcome back, sir. Appreciate
How
you.
folks doing? It's been a week.
It's been a week. Oh boy, yeah, I feel you, man.
I'm juiced up for this one though. I loved the syllabus. I really like this show. This is good stuff. It's like you always bring up something fun. I'm like, yay!
Remember, I think last time when we were just talking, like a bunch of gamers do, and we were like, "Do you remember that game?" And you're like, "I think you're the only one who's ever told me about Life Force." Like
I'm telling you, I'm like, oh, this is a good time. This is fun. Yeah. It's like a vacation.
That's right,
man. A good time. I cannot tell you how hard I was grooving to the intro song that we played today.
Blaster Master, yeah. Like, I'm glad you liked it, man. It was a hard choice for this week, so that one prevailed. So yeah, good to have you as always, man. Thanks for filling in for Nick. So hopefully we're not straying you away from Daddy Duty. So,
nope.
Much appreciated. And of course, my man here that I've messed with, and he's actually provided some soundtracks for my stream a few years back, and he's always willing to help out. So I'm glad he's coming back on the show. Always NoShoes in the house because this is Asian house. So what's up, man?
NoShoes in the house.
What's going on?
What's going on? Good to see everybody.
Is this okay? Hold on. Is this background from a game?
No,
it looks familiar.
It's just some sort of pixely thing that I found.
Okay.
This is one of the backgrounds that I used to use for my Throwback Thursday streams because it's pixelated and it's got an animation, but for whatever reason, it's not animated. The sun is supposed to like burst every like couple seconds.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know.
It
I couldn't
reminds
get
me
to
of
load up in time.
you ever played Full Throttle? Here we go already. I'm throwing the game
Yeah.
out.
Here
Full
we go.
Throttle on the PC back in the day.
Yeah, I think so.
Motorcycle
Right.
guy. It's a point and click adventure.
Yeah, it's like a Scum VM type game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I thought the background was because the art
Oh.
looks similar.
Nope, just some sort of. I think I typed in like Summer Sunset or something.
All right, that's what you get.
There you go.
Awesome, man. Hey, you know what? I know I when I watch your channel, you've played quite a few retro games and some beat 'em that I even enjoyed. So I'm glad to have partake in tonight's discussion. So.
I am ready. I wrote down notes and everything.
Oh my man, I love it. All right, here we go, guys. The moment you've been waiting for. 50% of the hooligans, blast from the past. The author of all the things, the guy formerly known from Bellingham, but now from Tacoma, Thomas Duder.
How did I get here? I was disassociating. The last thing I checked, last thing I remember, I was being choked out by 2 Agent for You. I and my stalwart homie. I disassociated. I think it's like, wow.
Yo,
is this calendar
you
corrected
got
10 years later?
Listen, man, you got isekai'd from the Szechuan chicken incident 10 years into the future.
Well, I just
Welcome
like to
back.
notice my wife in the background, so I am doing great. Thank you.
Don't be bringing up crimes of the past. All right? No, don't be talking about that.
Baby girl in the background. It's like, what? It's like, I'll explain the joke
Situation
later.
for me.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? This is Thomas Duder, author of The Things. Some of these gents I ain't seen in literally years, but you know, we be busy. We be busy.
I was hoping I'd see you tonight, but you know, you're just gonna be this ominous figure in the background.
Nope. I'm always the ominous figure in the background. I'm the man in black.
It's true. He's legendary. I've been hearing about this guy for years. I've never met him, but I know all about him, all because of Duder. I'm like, well, you can't forget that name.
Oh yeah, Thomas Duder. Wait, seriously, Oliver, you don't remember me? We've actually talked before, man.
Have I?
Yes,
It's been a long time. A lot of wild shit happens.
True. I mean, oh my god, now I feel kind of weirdly parasocial because, like, I know you have a wife. I know you have your child.
I know about your baby. I'm
We-
like, oh, okay.
We have honestly talked before.
Coming for
Like,
your daughter,
I don't know,
Chuck.
Twitter, Facebook. It's Ace's fault too, by the way.
And it must be like it's a lot. Listen. I know what Nick's going through right now. I haven't been thinking for 5 years. Okay, like no, your brain just shuts off in the first 5 years you have a kid. So it's like no, you got to give him some time to be an amnesiac. Don't worry, it'll come to me.
That sounds about right.
I was trying to get rid of that bar in the bottom. All right, guys, we got a lot. We got a lot to cover, and how about we just go a little bit back in time since I've already gathered all the Infinity Stones for right now, and let's talk about some games in gaming history. All right, there we go. I was wondering where everybody else went.
Forgot about the Contra.
There we go. All right. If it's your first time here, welcome. This segment is called This Week in Gaming History, where we take a blast. Is that blast from the past? I think that's what the Angry Video Game Nerd was. And we talk about games that came out this week, starting on June 15 all the way to the 21st. And if there's a game here that really sparks a little bit of your nostalgia, put it in chat. Let us know what you thought about it, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be sparking some conversations through this list because there's a few games on here. All right, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Fantastic. All right, so let's start on 6/15. But anytime now. Thank you, game. All right, on 6/15, Mighty Gunvolt Burst came out on the Switch in 2017. You guys any familiar with Mighty Gunvolt Burst? Anybody?
I don't want to talk about it.
Sounds familiar.
I don't want
Sounds
to talk
familiar?
about it.
Ooh.
No, you're the one, man. That's why I brought you here.
I don't want to talk about it.
This is so my experience was actually just I think well, not Mighty Number 9, but Gunvolt was the one that I was introduced to, and I thought this was a really cool homage to our classic Blue Bomber. And I don't know if you guys, anybody on the panel who have played my Gunvolt, not Mighty Gunvolt, but just Gunvolt.
Gunvolt, no, I haven't played Azure Striker, but I have been wanting to look into it. Unfortunately, I played Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, no, that's going to be coming up here later. So that's also part of the list, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, so this one here was kind of like the post result of such things. And Gunvolt to me was actually quite like a combination between like Mega Man, what is that? What's the one? Zero, right? On the GBA.
Yeah,
So that one was pretty good. Yeah, it felt like that, a little bit of that, and I think it's a slept on title because there was like zero marketing for it. Unfortunately, as you can tell on this panel, not a lot of us played it. Not a lot of people knew what it was. But I give it, I always try to bring up games that haven't been talked about a little bit of a shot. And if anybody in chat here can share their experiences with us, that'd be awesome. But yeah, let me share a few other games that came out that day. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there's a small game that came out in 1988 called Missile Command in the arcade. All right. Also, it came out in 1995, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie on the Genesis. That was a favorite one of mine. Front Mission 4 on the PS2 in 2004. And Among Us came out, pretty much took over the world in 2018, starting on your cell phone.
I've still never played Among Us.
You know what? I think we have enough people. So, and also Dark Deity. If you guys are a huge fan of retro Fire Emblem, you can get that now on the PC, which came out in 2021. So that one was a pretty good one. Any highlights for any of those games that you're familiar with? I heard a laugh from Duder for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Well, not for that exactly, but no. I was just like, you mentioned Among Us, and all I can think of is like every meme I know about that just being sussy bakas or Amogus, and it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Amogus.
I'm not gonna bring that energy here. It's okay.
There was like, I think somebody made a video on YouTube, and everybody's name was like that, him, them, someone, and so they had to like explain who it was, and it was just like a mind fuck of things, and you're like, oh my god, what am I listening to? So.
The moment I hear about Amogus, I just think more about that. There's a guy who actually got like internet famous on YouTube for basically trolling and screaming at kids on playing Amogus. So.
Yeah, I think was it the VR one?
Yeah,
yeah, I remember seeing that. But yeah, I wanted to highlight Among Us because like that like set off a bunch of other games similar to that, and I feel like that this was one of those games that only got popular because of streamers. In my personal opinion, so because I didn't even hear about it until people were playing it all over the place. So then even my friends started playing it. So.
Influencer marketing is powerful. I mean, I don't mean to sound like that guy in this group, but no, seriously, never underestimate the power of influencer marketing and streamers and such.
But you are that guy, and we are a stream. Oh no!
God,
I broke him. I broke him. All right, move on to the next day on the 16th. Matching our theme of the night, Final Vendetta came out on basically everything in 2022. So, panel, anybody know Final Vendetta? Anyone play it? Except Ace?
I've heard of it.
I played Streets of Rage 4.
All right.
I haven't, but that flat top is amazing. It's been a hot minute.
Top 8.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I actually haven't played Final Vendetta.
Okay, all right, that's fair. There was a huge burst back in 2020 and 2022 of side scroller beat 'em ups, and this was one. This is kind of one of the few that ended up on the top with Streets of Rage 4. Game hardly goes on sale on Steam, but like when it does, people just pick it up. It's super fun. It's it's one of the it's pixel art, very very traditional, very classic. Very nostalgic. I don't know if there's any relation to the OG Vendetta arcade game from Konami. You guys remember that one? Right?
Vaguely.
So Final Vendetta, immediately I was like, is this a sequel or is this an homage to that? Because there was a 6-player beat 'em up from Konami in the arcade, because they were like the kings of like side scroller beat 'em ups at the time in the 80s. And I don't know if it was related to it. So yeah, this pretty cool game. It's out on everything: Switch, Steam, PlayStations, everything. So check that out. Also, in 1978, another small title that was released, Space Invaders. Anybody heard of that one? I'm not sure.
Never.
But they came out in the arcade in 1978. Yeah.
It's not familiar to me.
It's a little
Yeah. What is that?
little-
Yeah.
We're gonna fast forward a little bit in 2005 with Drakengard 2 in the US release. That was a pretty big one for Square. And another beat 'em up, TMNT Shredder's Revenge, came out on everything in 2022. And again, another beat 'em up in 2022. And from the makers of Sifu, Rematch is coming out here. I think came out yesterday on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. It came out this year. So I like Sifu. I do want to check out the soccer game or football game, as the world calls it, because I do like the art design of Sifu. But yes, I know you've played the TMNT Shredder's Revenge on stream. Tell us about it.
Good.
Played the hell out of it.
So good.
Like, I can honestly say that out of all of the recent like revival beat 'em ups that have come out, Shredder's Revenge is by a very slim margin my favorite over Streets of Rage 4.
Oh wow, really?
Like, no, that's
Yeah, it's just
Big words. There's a big claim.
like I said,
all right, let's go. This is what I
very slim margin, and part of what carries it over the finish line is the music.
Okay.
I haven't even played the Streets of Rage 4 yet, so I can't even say shit.
it's a masterpiece.
I have, and
I hear it's
think
incredible.
like-
I don't even know. I haven't been avoiding it on purpose or anything.
Just haven't gotten to
Final
it.
Fantasy
Yeah.
Man, too many games, too little time.
That's the
Man,
truth.
when we were kids, this was a problem, wasn't it? Now it's like even worse problem.
Actually, no. I gotta put my quarter on the arcade for this one. No. Check the amount of games that came out at the time versus nowadays. You know, it's kind of like with anime. You know, where we're just getting inundated because everybody is trying to catch either the whales or just get their bag. And I understand the capitalist, the corporate background of wanting to make money in a society that requires money. However, dude, give us some time. We're adults now. We are the main audience. I got to pick and choose. I got to pick and choose now.
Let's be fair. There is probably like the studios that were out back in the 80s or back then were a lot smaller, right? Gaming wasn't as big as it is now. Like it's
Also,
mainstream now, but back then we were like, no one bothered us because gamers were doing their own thing, right? So,
but also less rules. Think about it like this.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you have a new industry that established, they're just going to go off. They'll go off the rails. They'll do whatever they want and have the best of times doing it. And then later on make documentaries about it and then act as if anybody can do it. And while it's true that we have great technology nowadays, that as long as you know how to code, as long as you have that visual design aspect, you can jump in and make your own game. However, are you going to get the marketing done? Are you going to have the legal of it done? Look what's happening with Power World versus Nintendo. You know, I mean, it's crazy. If you don't have that kind of establishment, if you're not already an established title, you're already behind the line, you know? Sorry for going off like that, but I'm just saying that just sparked that whole thing there.
It'll happen a lot, Chance. Keep that in mind. He does that.
You're fine.
Yeah, I derail.
He is the fireball over here. Down,
Fireball.
Real life, not just podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. He's our guy.
Went
He's our
fucking
guy.
hard.
I digress.
All that shit. He said all that just to say, effectively, could you get your fucking hand out of my pocket for 5 seconds so I can get some money in it?
Exactly.
Like, just back up. I'm going to give you just 60, 70 fucking dollars. But I
slow
got
down. I'm broke. That's
Nowadays,
I gotta
45.
get
Nowadays-
the money so I can give it to you.
45. Anything more than 45, and I have to make a decision. I have to talk to my wife about it. We have to check our finances.
We were
You're
just
like,
talking
"Oh,
about this on
relax."
why games shouldn't be going up in price, but here we are, right?
They should have never have gone up. Anyway, I'm sorry.
All right. You should have been here for that episode. What are you doing here? Come on.
I don't know. You invited me last week, and then I never heard from you. Anyway,
I did. All right, next one. All right, 617. The Crusader of Senti came out on Genesis in 1994 in Japan, called Ragna Senti in Japan, not Crusader of Senti. Real quick, chat panel. Has anyone played Crusader of Senti on the
I've
Genesis?
heard about this game for
I have.
years, and I've never played it.
I can say
All
with
right.
absolute confidence, no. I haven't a clue what this is about.
It's
I love it.
basically it's Sega's answer to Zelda. essentially.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's
It's
wild.
tough. It's really, really, really tough. Really tough. I tried to play it on a Throwback Thursday episode. I think we did like 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, I can't. I want to break controllers. It's tough. It's really, really. It's beautiful. It's very colorful. 16-bit, just like that nice little pocket that that all of us have to love. The sprites look great. The controls are fairly okay, I guess, for Sega, but it's tough. It's a tough one.
I'll pull it up here. It's
good.
unapologetically like a clone. Even like the UI looks very
Totally,
similar. Right? Yeah. So I'm gonna put this up here.
Yeah, but didn't Nintendo get back at them by buying them?
So this is Crusader of Senti. Look at that.
That looks familiar.
That looks like Zelda.
That's a joke. That's just a joke. Did they at least give us something new with this reiteration?
So you basically, if I remember correctly, you learn like these spirits as you go along, and the spirits help you like your classic. You come to an obstacle, you need to use the spirit to get over the obstacle or fight whatever you need to fight to get to like the next part. And as you go on, you learn more and more like these like spirits or souls that kind of like help you as you go. I could be mixing and matching games, but I'm pretty sure that's how this one went. Or they were animals or something like that.
Even the font is the same.
Too.
Right, guys? Even the font is the same.
You're right.
It reminds me of that Square Enix or the NX font, like from Soul Blazer or
yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. See, those are like video gamer terms that people are like, it's the font from Terranigma. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that? So that's
the talking about Stefan from Family Matters. I was like, oh my god, we're doing some deep fucking pulls this week.
Amen.
All right,
or kill.
Some other games that came out on the 17th. The intro music for tonight's show, Blaster Master on the NES and TV. Mega Man Battle Network 2 on the GBA. Got to give Network some love here in 2002. Unlimited Saga on the PS2 in 2003. And Silent Hill 4, The Room on the PS2 in 2004 in Japan.
Now, I do have a quick story with Unlimited Saga, although I didn't highlight it.
Yeah, go for it.
Unlimited Saga is one of two games that I could think of where I kept it for the shortest amount of time. Like I was
that bad?
Well, I wasn't too keen on I wasn't too keen on how the roulette wheel was necessary for literally everything.
That seems like super like it just gets in the way,
I bought it from GameStop while I was staying out in Irving, Texas back in 03. Sorry, not 03, back in the...
So you said GameStop, and that was your first fucking mistake.
No, GameStop was my first mistake. My second mistake was the fact that I walked a half hour from where I was staying to the GameStop in order to get this game. Got it home, played it. I was sitting down in front of the swamp cooler, soaking from sweat, right?
Vibing.
The very next day, I took it back to GameStop, and that 30-minute walk left me soaked from the rain.
Oh God,
you're struggling. That is struggling because this
game wasn't meant for you.
So what you're saying is you don't have good memories of Unlimited Saga.
I was having a time of it.
I mean,
but the only game I could think of that I had worse memories of than Unlimited Saga, Soul Calibur 5.
I really thought you were going to say Mighty Number 9. I was waiting for it. I was like, nope, he's going to say it.
There was one of the Dynasty Warriors. You used to lose your mind about that. Don't quite remember which one, though.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like I'm looking at this and it's bringing me back to that era of Square Enix games that came out, and the art, never noticed it until now, kind of has that Vanillaware look to it.
Yeah.
And that's mean, art to me is very important in the game. It drives the attention, right? But does it hold it?
Mm.
That's what the gameplay's for, right? So
True.
immediately, I'm like, this looks kind of cool, but from what Ace has talked about, I'm kind of like, oh, I can see why that would be tiresome. You know, like
The only
can you
roulette
skip-
wheel
can
you should ever
skip
care
that?
about is in God Hand.
That's true.
God.
Unfortunately. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, tell us about Blaster Master
Oh, so good.
or anybody.
So tough, so good.
Tell
That
us about-
soundtrack.
Listen,
Legendary.
here's what I tell the crew. Okay, I tell the people that have never played that. I'm like, this is Blaster Master comes from such a specific time in history when game developers took the exact right path, and the correct path is they fucking hated children. They hated children so much.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Whoa.
Turtles, not the arcade version, the NES version. Everybody knows what I'm
Exactly.
talking about.
And Sunsoft, they were the fucking masters of hating kids when it came to video games. I mean, you could
Sunsoft's
take
logo was literally "fuck them kids."
right. It was they didn't give a fuck with Batman. They didn't give a fuck with Blaster Master. They didn't give a fuck with Fester's Quest. They were like, "You're gonna sit down. You're gonna beat this fucking game." You're like, "But I need continues." They're like, "You're gonna continue to shut the hell up and play this game properly, you little bastard." You're like, "But I need a map." They're like, "Maps."
Man, Fester's Quest was even worse though.
That's what I'm
Dude,
saying.
y'all
At least
y'all
Blaster
speaking
Master
facts.
was
I'm just like
good.
Yes,
agreeing.
you graph paper and you do that shit in real life like we all did.
Oh my
Yeah,
god. But
that's
my
true.
Blaster Master anecdote is this. I loved Blaster Master so much as a kid because that was a game that my brother and I played together. And he did all the fighting, and I did all the mental mapping and the backtracking and shit for him. But
That was the killer in that game, though. The backtracking was the worst.
it gets you. Somebody had to remember where shit went before, right? Before we even had that concept, the
Mhm.
deep concept of the Metroidvania, right? Let's put it this way: Super Metroid hadn't happened yet, and solidified that in place. So, it was still very novel, I would say. But my cool story is that when I was in the 6th grade, I did a book report on the Worlds of Power novelization of Blaster Master. I was the only motherfucker to get an A in class. Yo, I crushed that shit. I
There's a
love Blaster
novelization
Master.
of a kid losing his frog in a hole.
Yeah. What, you didn't know? You didn't know?
I had no idea.
Oh, no.
Heard of it.
Deep
I'll
lore.
make it better for you. We'll get deeper into the lore. So you know how Blaster Master got remade as Blaster Master Zero on the
Yeah.
Switch some years ago?
Yeah,
That is
terrible.
based on that novelization.
Okay.
Huh.
That's
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like the character of Eve and all that, nope, that came from that book. It's based. It was so
Huh.
well received that it is the Blaster Master canon now.
Huh.
Just,
Man, we
just
were
reminded-
getting. Sorry,
Oh,
go
sorry. No, you just reminded me. Yeah, those books. Castlevania also had one of them books. I think from the same people.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
very likely. Like it was just dope. It's a dope ass story. You're like, oh my god. You're like, oh, I'm gonna read the book about the boy and his frog, and it turns into some other shit. You're like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, this is
love
wild
that.
because like I never considered these to be like early Metroidvania games, right? I just thought they were just more open than go right.
Right. But
So,
it's like when you think about it in the formula of, oh, you're gonna have to do a lot of double back, and you're like,
yeah,
this
Yeah,
is very
that's cool.
proto. No, just
'Cause
like
even-
That is the
That's-
formula, though, ain't it?
yeah. No, it's wild because like I can't. It's one of those moments where I'm like, I can't believe we already had it. We just never noticed it.
Mm.
You know, because we know how like the Metroidvania air quotes genre had exploded, but not a lot of people look back to these OG games. Are like, by the way, Blaster Master was. You're like, oh my god, it was. Like, whoa, it's crazy.
My absolute favorite thing about Blaster Master, especially as we're looking at the footage right here, is one simple fact, right? Most enemies are completely just not memorable. The bosses, absolutely memorable. But the most memorable thing to me has been the fact that Jason has always looked like a fat baby. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, there's a fat
Huge.
baby getting into fights underground. Seems fine to me.
He does look like a walking Nendoroid. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? Those little figures. His little baby body.
I see it.
I hate saying that word. Baby body? That sounds terrible. I don't like that.
In all seriousness, though, one of the I think is just one of the all-time classics is, I think for many people, not everyone, but many people, this is a clear-cut early beginning as for the concept of the exploit for people, because that fucking grenade, throwing that grenade and rapidly pausing the game and unpausing it. Oh yeah, you getting out of some nonsense with that move.
There was a cheeky developer that was like, I'm gonna put a little bit of spice in here. Like,
right, just this weird little thing. And I don't know anyone that didn't use that trick, because again, Sunsoft said, you know what, fuck those kids. So you know what, we were like, oh okay, so we're doing it, you're bringing knives, we're bringing chains. Like the kids are like, no, I'm gonna cheat at your game. Eat that.
This rap is going down either way.
Do you guys think there was collusion with the gaming industry and like rental stores?
Yes.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, there we go.
Deadly serious.
That's what he said. Yes.
Now, don't ask me for evidence, but I mean, just look at the synergy that lays between them. You know what I mean? It is until digital streaming, digital purchases became a thing, and then suddenly it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And then we got the Game Stonks event. But that's a whole other conversation. You probably already covered.
Well, it's kind of like the origins of Gauntlet in the arcade, right? I was just kind of telling my wife about this the other day. I was like, one of the things about Gauntlet is that it was primarily designed with the idea of keeping you dumping quarters into it. Yeah. And I was like, it was actually kind of brilliantly designed, because they were able to take that external pressure and turn that into a game mechanic. They're like, oh, you're poisoned, right? You are constantly being poisoned throughout the run. We never thought of it like that when we were playing it. But that's just a fucking timer. Nope, you got 120 on there? No, you have 2 minutes, and you can extend it through the gameplay, but we're going to make it really, really, really difficult for you to
unless you get
that
touched.
Right, unless you get tapped, right? And so you're starting to lose time, right? But you just designed it in such a really particular way to achieve that end, and we didn't object to it. Right,
so because we just accepted it, because we accepted it like it's just Gauntlet, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we took it. I do clearly remember having some of these arcade games having your life bar be your credit. So if you put a quarter in, it'd give you like 200 life, and then when they hit you, they take away like 25 or something. And I do remember some of those games, specifically beat 'em ups, where I was like, oh man, 2 hits, I gotta put like more money in. That's crazy, because the boss fights were hard. But I do remember some of that like predatory practices of arcade games.
Yep.
PTSD.
Well, don't forget,
the thing doesn't feel like a stretch. It doesn't feel like a stretch at all. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense now looking back at it. But when you're a kid, you're just kind of like doughy-eyed.
So that's the thing about it, is that back in the day, the parents, it's not that they didn't care, they didn't understand. To quote the Beastie Boys, was the Beastie whatever. To quote somebody, and of course, it was also again a new industry. So in the 80s, especially the arcade. Great scene, but you're gonna finding a lot of predatory practices because of that. Because they can get away with it, they can make the money, they can get their bag that way. Nowadays, I'm pretty certain you get sued doing that kind of mess, but gotcha games, loot boxes, these things still exist.
There's definitely more eyeballs on stuff like that now, right? It's just
because there's more understanding, also,
which is good too. Because I don't, you're right. Because like for example, right now I'm like looking back at certain things like Blaster Rose, Metro, like it takes time and experience for people to ignore. Speaking of beat 'em ups, guys, Crisis Beat on the PlayStation came out in 1998 in Japan. Who on this panel is a true gamer and has played Crisis Beat on the PlayStation?
Wait, is that Battle Royale Toshinden, or is that wait? What is this?
There's no gamers in this house.
That's Battle Royale Toshinden artwork, though. I recognize that.
Crisis Beat, man. Come on, hold on. There we go. Let's move this over here. Does everybody fit? Yes, we all fit. Not really. We got cut off. Let's move this thing out of the way.
I'll take one for the team if you want to cut me out.
No, you're good.
Okay, there we go.
You're good.
No, I'll jump on the grenade. I'll be Captain America.
No one's leaving. No one's leaving. All right, check this out. So I think this is PlayStation's version of Dynamite Deca. You guys know what Dynamite Deca is, right?
I know you just said a little kid, but it touched your brother's heart.
Yeah, Die Hard Arcade.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah, no, I know that one.
Yo,
So-
I did play this.
Look at this. This is right up Ace's alley. I'm surprised he has not played this.
Seriously.
It's like broke ass Shenmue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
AG.
I mean, he's fucking him up though. I mean, everybody's getting knocked at least 3.
That
4
that,
feet
that
in
was
air,
the
so-
that was the look, brown bomber
Mm.
jacket and jeans and chucks. You were about to save some stuff.
And yeah,
Damn, they
Yes.
have
that walk cycle.
Now I'm gonna have to get this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's by Namco, and my theory is that this is the precursor to Death by Degrees, right? Because it does take place on a ship, and we all know Death by. Anybody know what Death by Degrees?
Yes, I do know Death by Degrees.
Okay, good. We're just throwing some bangers out tonight here.
He fucks me up every time he just mentions the game. I'm like, oof, he knows about that.
Is this Titanic?
Yeah,
No, did
this
he
is-
just knock him through the railing?
This is and it's
Oh.
and it's co-op because it says press start on this right side of the
Oh
screen.
my
That's
God.
cool.
Right.
To be fair, guys, this game never came out in the US. It was locked in Japan. So
That would be
That's why-
unfair then.
it's just Tatsu uppercut.
I might have still got my hands on it through other more nefarious means, but yeah.
No, this is great. Oh, look at that. Oh, poor doggy. All right, I'll read off some of the other games that came out while you guys watch this exhilarating gameplay. by
Mesmerized.
AG. Also, NBA Street on the PS2 had released in 2001.
Fuck,
Twisted Metal Black PS2 in 2001 as well. That's a game that requires a remaster and could also be, I think, easily transformed into a VR if they wanted to.
We should get a movie from that, but it has to be from specific producers. Okay, I'm just saying. Twisted Metal Black was great.
Michael Bay?
Didn't they do a Twisted Metal movie?
Maybe Michael Bay.
No,
what was
they-
that?
they
No,
did
the show. They did a show. They did
They
a
did
show.
a show.
I haven't seen the show. I've seen parts of the show, but it's not Twisted Metal Black though. That was like its own thing.
Yeah,
Although I
it
did
was
like their
different.
rendition of Sweet Tooth.
That,
Yeah, and
that's
that
the one
Sweet
with,
Tooth is
what's
based
his
on the
name in
black
it, right?
version.
Yeah.
Dude that played Falcon. Can't remember his name right now.
Anthony
Sam
Mackie.
Sam Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sam Wilson, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? He
I
played
thought-
Clarence in 8 Mile.
Here's a movie that requires. Here's a game that requires a movie. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but Resident Evil Dead Aim on the PS2 in 2003 had released.
What?
That's the hidden Resident Evil game nobody played.
You're
I was gonna be the jerk in the group and be like, "You realize they made Resident Evil movies, right? Like a whole bunch of them.
No, they
Not
didn't.
good.
But I'm talking about
There's
Dead Aim.
never been a
specifically.
Resident Evil movie. Why would you
All
say
right. All right, Peter. What's the main character's name in Resident Evil Dead Aim?
Not Leon. I don't know. I played 7. I played.
Boulder.
I haven't played
That's
Village
what
yet.
I
but I played 7. Wait, no, was Dead Aim the one with the mercenary in black or whatever? He's constantly journaling stuff.
I think that was Hunk, but this is like a dude's a cop or something. I don't even
Isn't
know.
it like a shooter game with like a
Yeah, it's a rail shooter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a rail shooter. All right. Also, here's a game. I don't know if Ace played it, but Pokemon Conquest in 2012. That one's special because it was Pokemon and like Samurai Warriors combined.
Samurai Warriors.
Yeah.
I think haven't played
have
that.
that somewhere.
My choice and also Ace's choice for this day. D&D Chronicles of Mystaria beat him up on the PC and PS3 in 2013. That was really good, really good. I like it when two worlds collide like that. Capcom's pretty good. Before we get into that, also Bloodstained Ritual the Night on the PC and PS4, Xbox One came out in 2019. Speaking of Metroidvanias, so that was a good release for those fans. But yes, let's Ace, tell us about D&D while I pull up the gameplay.
Oh. Man, I like Chronicles of no, it was Tower of Doom actually.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one. Tower of Doom was actually that was like the first D&D game that I had played that wasn't tabletop.
Those games are so
Like
fire.
I honestly up until I saw that I didn't know that D&D had actually like branched out to more than just the games or the old cartoon. So when I saw
that cartoon? Holy
Yeah.
shit!
That cartoon.
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So when I saw D&D Tower of Doom in the arcades, and I'm like, what is this? And Capcom?
Is this
And then
Mystara?
I
or
fired
is
up,
this-
and it's
is
like,
this
oh
Tower
my
of Doom?
god, it's D&D Alien versus
This
Predator.
is Mystara.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
Jim and I played this on Best Losers.
Yeah, you did.
These games are super
Four,
fun.
it's 4 players, so it has that nice 4-player charm to it. Now, Tower of Doom was the OG, right? But they really expanded on the Shadows of Mystara one because they added like 2 more characters, and they added way more moves to each character. By the way, this was unheard of for beat 'em ups at the time. Personally, input commands
There's
for
an item
special moves for
system and
characters
everything too.
Yeah. So yeah, no, this is great. I like the dwarf personally in this game. I don't know what I don't know what you guys are choice for characters, but
Speaking of more modern, I'm more of a sorry. Speaking of modern, I'm more of a variant human type, but that's because I prefer the extra feats. That's me.
okay, nerd.
Honestly,
I do not want to be called that on this show. Surrounded by y'all. We're all nerds.
Nah,
though.
I stuck with the fighter on the first one on Tower of Doom, but in Shadow over Mystara, thief all the way.
Thief. Yeah, I see that 100%.
Tornado
Combos
in the chat
for
with the
days.
Knights of the Round. That's an amazing
Yep,
game. Too.
Knights of the Round.
That's my favorite beat 'em up.
King of Dragons was one of the good ones.
Mhm.
I honestly thought this was the better version of King of Dragons. You guys remember King of Dragons?
Yeah.
once again, another game that I played to death with my brother. No, those are 2 of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. Right? Like, oh, come on, King of Dragons. That's why I never played the D&D games, because I had my fix. I was good. Right? I was like, no, come on, King of Dragons. That dope ass war cry every time they used any magic. They're like, it's completely unnecessary. You're like,
yeah.
This guy's the baddest motherfucker I've ever seen. I was 11, so
Didn't you make that sound when you put a quarter in too?
Yeah.
they
You're
did.
right. They did make that sound. Oh man.
I'm like, God damn.
I think they also did that sound in Knights of the Round too. Also, when they fall into the map.
Nah,
I
but when you
think
put the
so.
quarter
Yeah,
in,
you're right,
you're right. Welcome to the D&D world, and I'm like,
Yeah, man. That's
okay,
so cool.
carry on.
This was definitely a quarter muncher. This thing was like I think this one also had the thing where you feed it and your life will go up. I guess let me just double check.
Look at that fine
I'm
ass.
seeing we're all 11.
We're
all
shop, my
doing the
lord. I'm
same.
like, okay.
Oh, look at those drows. Let's go.
How you doing, ma'am?
Not to get too racist, which is a bad way to start any conversation. I'm
All right,
just saying.
before you say anything, think about what you just said.
I just want to talk about drow superiority for
His
once.
name is Sam Wilson.
That's true. That's true. Hey, am I wrong though? Come on now.
Not enough love is given to the drow. I'm just saying, not enough.
Oh my god.
And that's what happens when you worship a giant spider.
No. I meant Eliastre, like the dancing naked giant chick, not Lolth. That's the spider one.
All right, there we go. I didn't want to make a distinction. Got it.
Oh boy.
All right, move on to the next one here on the 19th. Hey, one of my favorite pseudo beat 'em ups, arguably one of the first arena fighters, King of the Monsters 2. The Next Thing, which is kind of a funny title, came out on the Neo Geo in 1992. Anybody have experience with King of the Monsters or KOM 2?
No, but that shitty
Hell
grin
no,
on his
who had a
face
Neo Geo?
is actually impressive. He's
Who had a
juiced up
Neo
to be
Geo,
here.
James? Who had a Neo Geo?
The laundromat that I went to to play it.
10 other games next to it that you can just like choose from them. Yeah.
Listen, King of the Monsters and KOM 2, those games are synonymous with laundromat arcades.
As an aside, I can't remember, but so I need the older guys to help me out with this
I
one.
think
But
Neo Turf Masters would be.
weren't Neo Geos like $600 back in the
Yes, yes.
day? And like $200 cartridges?
Oh yeah.
I think they were even up to like $1,000 for like the best version of the Neo Geo
Somewhere,
console. And then the carts were like 2 to 5 depending on the type of game they were, because you were literally playing arcade boards in your house.
Yeah.
Like there was no fidelity difference from at home and the arcade. That's why they were
Neo
so
Geo
expensive.
and 3DO is super expensive at the time. And even worse, don't forget, we're talking about 1990s money. So that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
inflation involved too now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna pay out the ass. So that's why I'm like, you know what? If they're saying, "Oh, this game is $80," I'm like, you know what? Kind of shut the fuck up. You have no clue what we were paying back in the day. Just
You
be
better
like,
have a
"Oh,
good
okay."
friend money. You better have a
Right,
good
I'm
friend
just
with
like,
money.
Okay, that's understandable for the
I
time.
remember only seeing Neo Geo cabinets in like Little Caesars for some reason. Never anywhere else. It was always Little Caesars.
You know, and they had 4 games in it, right? You were able
It
to
always
choose.
only had 2.
Only had 2, man.
Wait,
Little
wait,
Caesars.
wait.
Was almost
You can
always
catch Neo
Neo
Geo
Turf
cabinets in all
Masters.
kinds of places though, like those pizza chalet type places, you know? Like
Yeah,
they
like
got
Little
the TMNT.
Caesars.
Yeah, well, Little Caesars is not the same as Pizza Chalet. I will fight you about this. Wait a minute. The drinks are different. The pizza tastes better at a Pizza Chalet type. Pizza Kingdom, what you're going to call it.
Look at this character. What is this? Also, this was their version of Ultraman, like the Neo Geo's version of it.
That reminds
I
me of
forget.
Solar Jetman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
It's the legally distinct Ultraman.
It's
Someone knows about Solar
Timu
Jet,
Wish.
man. I feel
Yep.
better. I don't need anything else to happen this evening.
You know, no, Oliver. One more.
Really good,
Remember, there's gonna be always one more thing, like Sonic Blast Man.
I know,
Right?
I'm so excited.
You know, there's
Oh,
always
I
one
know.
more game.
I desperately need a remake of Solar Jet, man. That's such a weird fucking game. That's another one of the We Hate Kids games.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if they don't understand physics, they're dead.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
they're
gonna
dead.
get tapped.
Yep. They're like, I don't
Space
understand why this
HQ.
ship is floating all weird. It was one of those games on the NES that had tank controls, and kids like brains melted because they didn't know how to use tank controls. Yeah, I know. I see you out there. I see Trade West. I remember your dev team, Trade West.
There you go. You just
You
said
did
it.
that.
Trade West.
Trade
Those
West.
guys, they were like, hey, we're gonna make this game called Battletoads. No one is beating that game legitimately. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. Everything
Nope.
you guys said was true. All right, other games that came out on the 19th. A little fun game, arguably one of the more popular pick your I guess choose your own adventure. Dragon's Lair came out in the arcade in 1983. Also the I think, we're fast forwarding super hard here on Dirt on the PC and 360 in 2006, because when was the last time you heard of a rally game outside of Dirt?
Dirt. MotoStorm.
Before 2006.
Hmm.
Or after 2006, I guess.
Yeah, it's MotoStorm. MotoStorm
Yep.
came out with the PS3.
Oh, and yeah, you're right. And when was the last time you heard of MotorStorm?
That game's fucking
Oh, wow.
fire.
No, and there were 2 versions of it too. Apocalypse
Yeah.
was the sequel.
Yeah.
We talked about this in the stream before. Raw Danger released on the US on PS2 in 2007. And for those that don't know what Raw Danger is, it is the US version of City Crisis. Back in time here. A game that probably everyone forgot about and everybody hated or loved back in 2009. Farmville.
Oh, fucking
Remember that game? Farmville.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the reaction I was looking for.
Never got into it. Only got the notifications on Facebook.
Yep, all the time. And also The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4 in 2020. So not a lot, but hey, some good ones in there. I would also like to add, before moving on to the next day, show watchers finally felt our pain as gamers when they experienced The Last of Us Part 2 in the first half. Because I remember they were talking about, like, you guys are just complaining, you guys are toxic. And then the people that actually don't play games and watch a show, they're like, this sucks. And like, now you know how we felt when this happened. You didn't have to be a gamer. So just know
That was really good. I was surprised. I really liked season 2.
I mean, I liked it too.
Really
I
good.
thought it was great for
I think
the
it was
writing and
novel
everything.
for them to kind of split rather than going back and forth.
Mhm.
Split the stories in half. I feel
It was just really interesting how like that media at the time in 2020 covered it with that like very like your gamers are overreacting.
Yeah.
And then now, like, when non-gamers are watching the show and has the same story, they're like, yo, this is terrible. And they're like, yeah, we know. Like almost admitting to like we weren't wrong kind of thing.
yeah.
I tried to fucking tell you, or like, just generally speaking, you don't make us grow attached to this guy and then brutally murder him.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking do it. But no, hey, guess what? They need to learn the hard way. So
Yeah,
it's all
it-
good.
And I hopefully those people that have played this game never watch a Gundam series, because don't get attached to anybody in Gundam, because they will always die. I remember
Seriously.
I was like, I like that guy. That guy's really cool. Next episode, they kill him. I'm like, oh, come on. I just got
Should
here.
have done that.
Yeah. I just got here, man. Help me. All right.
I think the only Gundam series I could think of where you could actually where the characters actually survive for the majority of it would be freaking G Gundam.
I was gonna mention G Gundam.
Yeah.
Godfinger himself. Yeah.
That remade is gonna be interesting. That's all I gotta say. If they ever do that. Let's see here. All right, we got a couple more. 619 or 620 Final Fantasy Tactics had come out in 1997 in Japan. Sporting the Japanese box art here. Very simple, very clean, very modern, very simplified. Most of their games from Squaresoft actually sported this white cover. Very minimalistic, usually always just a logo. Super cool to have in your collection. Even now, the US version still looks good on your shelf too. Like, it has that like uniformal look that these games are from Squaresoft. So really like it. Also, I think the remaster was just announced for September. So if you guys want to pre-order that, it's available now. I think Amazon has a special edition, no upcharge at all. And they're giving you like some sort of like wall art or wall poster for it. Super cool.
Nice.
And of course, the super limited collector's edition with like the box with like a cool, unique like figure with it with Ramza and like the box art, it's already sold out, because that's what scalpers are for. Why not?
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a super cool re-release. I think they're doing everything they're adding voice art or voice what do you call this, acting to it, and they're remastering some of the 3D portions of the game. So the 2D art will still be there, probably up-resed a little bit, but some of the 3D portions, like the waterfalls and stuff like that, that's usually in 3D. They're updating that to like more modern art, so it's super cool too. So hopefully it turns out pretty good. This was one of the more popular Final Fantasies for me. I really like the story. I really like the characters. I even made a post on X about in the world of DaHooliganz, be the Ramza that we all need. Made it super impactful. As far as storytelling, and actually I would argue like even like cultural like commentary, like for a kid you're like, I don't know what's happening, this is cool, it's like Game of Thrones, right? But like if you look back and play, you're like, wow, this is actually really good writing in disguise social commentary. And has anybody else played Tactics?
Oh, it's been years. It's been years.
I tried to play a little while ago and I keep falling asleep.
Oh my god.
It's
ouch.
Yeah.
It's soothing.
It's fucking crimes.
I'm not going to say that
it's not
Final
even
Fantasy.
boring either. I'm just like,
I'm not going to say that Squeenix has like the best writing of all, but they do have more bangers than they have laying on the ground. I'm just saying. In fact, Ace and I, we have a mutual friend who just discovered, I think Final Fantasy 16 looks good. And I'm like, bro, no, go play it, dude. Get you some kaiju battles. I didn't say that part. I shouldn't even say that here. But, get you some kaiju battles. It's good. It's good.
Jay,
I was just talking about this, all this stuff, this entire thing, everything that everyone said. I just said this on stream last night. Swear to God, I was like, there are more good Final Fantasy games than there are bad ones. Period. And I was talking about how I've clocked more hours in Final Fantasy Tactics than any other Final Fantasy game in history. Like, I broke the internal timer on the game because I played it so much. It's like, no, my Final Fantasy Tactics stories are like fucking crazy. So let me think. I was 16 years old when I was playing that, right? I played that game so fucking much. You know the baby that's the center of that lead-in plot, right? With the whole reason that there's a war between the two lines, because it's like who's going to be ruling in this baby's stead. By the time I finished that game, this motherfucker was 42. I was like, there's no need to have this war anymore. I was like, this is just a grown fucking man. Why are we here? And for the people who haven't played it, the game keeps an accurate track of time as a mechanic. So, Ramza, Delita, and your principal characters, they're like 16, 17 years old at the beginning of the game. But as you travel around the map and get into your random skirmishes and get into the story battles, time is still progressing. It's basically a day anytime you move from one location to another. It's like a day, or it's like a week, or something like that. And your characters will age over time.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this was a fucking baby, he was like one when shit started, I was like, this is a grown fucking man, but it still had the baby portrait, so I was just confused.
Baby man.
I'm like, most of these guys should just be dead. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, I don't know. In a Final Fantasy, there's all kinds of ways to keep it going. Just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Keep living.
And
All
there's
that
actually a
matters-
bad version of Final Fantasy Tactics. That is the original. The PlayStation one is a certified banger. The PSP War of the Lions that added in the voice acting and the animated cutscenes, and added in additional stuff like Balthier makes his appearance in there, as well as Cloud. And they have a whole story thing for that, and they fit. They're balanced against that game, so you can't miss with Tactics. I don't even like most Tactics game, but Final Fantasy Tactics is the chosen one.
Yeah, the one I ever finished.
Pretty good.
What was the GQA
I have no argument against that one.
Final Fantasy Advance.
Yeah, that was the only one I finished. That was a great game too.
That was like a storybook, right? From what I remember, like the style. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So my first game on the PlayStation 1, because I was excited for Final Fantasy Tactics, was actually Vagrant Story. No, not Vagrant Story.
Vagrant Story.
No, Vandal Hearts. Vandal Hearts. Which is like we have Final Fantasy Tactics at home.
But
was
there
good.
was a
It was
lot
good.
of blood involved in
It was
process,
blood
too.
and gory, yeah, for sure. But it was like the first game that I bought also at the same time. Like it was like this will make do until Tactics had come out, right?
That
And
is
they
the one where
ended
you
up
play
having
John Vandelheart, right?
yeah.
Like
John
you become the
Vandelheart.
Vandelheart later on, like the namesake, and it's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
They kill your dog, and you're like, I want revenge. And John Vandelheart.
it always comes down to Doom, though. It always comes down to the Doom storyline. Sometimes it's simple. All you need is a reason to pop off. Then you go Joker style.
That's true.
There wasn't a lot of games released for this day. Actually, like going back at this, there's only Dot Hack Infection Part 1 on the PS2 came out in 2002 in Japan. Lara Croft Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness on the PS2 in 2003. I wanted to highlight Dungeon Siege 3 because that was the more popular one out of all the Dungeon Siege on the PC in 2013. And I played this on stream. Aliens Dark Descent came out basically on everything in 2023, which I have not finished because the game is freaking hard. But probably one of the better Aliens game I've played. Actually quite scary for a weird like real-time strategy game.
I want to highlight that James says Laura really weird.
Which game? Laura?
Lara.
Oh, Lara.
Lara Croft.
Yeah, I grew up saying Laura Croft for some reason.
Laura.
Lara.
No one ever corrected me, so it's kind of
Laura.
Is it Lara?
It's Lara.
What?
No, it's not.
It's not Lara?
Put my quarter on the cabinet. Wait, I gotta challenge this. I need to find. I'm gonna go bother Google about this later after the show.
All right. All right, moving on to the.
I guess I'm the asshole.
Oh no, I honestly don't know. But yes, speaking of beat 'em ups, Separation Anxiety had come out in 1995 in Japan. Because if you were like, as a kid like myself, I said, man, Maximum Carnage would be so fun if it was 2 players. And they were like, sure, why not?
Say
and let's call it Separation Anxiety.
I thought that was Maximum Carnage. It's like that's Shriek. That's Carnage right there.
Yep, this is technically the sequel to Maximum Carnage. It didn't have the red cartridge like the first one. Kind of a missed opportunity there. But if you were asking for a co-op Maximum Carnage, this is the game. Like literally, this is why they made this game. So, anybody played Separation Anxiety?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Negative.
But it's just not as good as Maximum Carnage.
Yeah, there's something about it. It's like they added 2 players and they were like, let's take away some of the other stuff. I noticed. I think there was no assists, right? In this one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no assists from what I can remember.
Okay. Yeah. From that's what I recall. Like the quality of it went down a little bit. That even the character models shrank.
Yep.
Probably because you had 2 main sprites at the same time always playing. So that's probably why. But I just remember that was my main concept of this game was like, hey, I wanna play this with my buddy and I want to be Venom all the time. right? And then like it was like a year later they announced this kid, and I was like, oh man, by the gods, they answered my call.
Kinda. Only kinda.
Kinda sorta. Other games that came out the 21st, Kingsfield 2 on the PlayStation in 1996 in Japan, Driver 3 on the PlayStation 2, Xbox in 2004, Battlefield 2, a long lost friend of ours on PC in 2005. Here's a game that Sony needs to dig deep, Folklore on the PS3 in 2007 in Japan had released. Man, this is like the games that have numbers on them. Fear 3 came out on everything in 2011. I forgot what it's called, but Grasshopper Manufacturer, Shadows of the Damned on the PS3 360 in 2011. And New Gundam Breaker on the PS4 in 2018 in Japan.
I saw that.
Yeah, I know you're gonna say something about.
I saw that.
Judgment on the PS4 in 2019, and of course, Mighty Number 9 came out on everything, even on your cell phone, probably in 2016. The huge.
I can literally hear Ace cringe. I can hear him physically cringe.
Mighty Number 9 is the expectation up here, the execution down here. The pure example of that. So, and they had so much money. I don't know why they. I do know why, because I watched the documentary, like Duder would say, But I think that was one of the reasons why you shouldn't put a game on everything, because you should focus on something and then maybe port it over, but not make a game for everything, because it's not going to be the same on the Wii U as it is on the 360, different infrastructure, right? And then having it on the handhelds as well won't have the same fidelity as the dude. It was just such a mess, and I'm glad. Personally, I'm glad Inafunde is not there, because he's kind of ahead. So.
That guy's been kind of quiet for a while.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's living his life somewhere peacefully with all the Kickstart money. So. But yeah, anything to add to those games on said list, except Issa's grunting from the Gundam Breaker?
A lot of good games.
All right. Well, that is it for this week in gaming history. Thanks, folks.
It's not the same without the explosion.
Yeah, in the background. So we're gonna we like I said, we're not doing the news today. We got a whole hour here. We're not doing the tech, but we are doing a filthy, fat, huge rhetorical for tonight, all about talking about beat 'em up. So what I'd like to do, guys, is I'd like to bring up questions. I'd like to hear from everyone on the panel, possibly from the top down, so this way we don't just talk over each other. And then once you said your piece, move on to the next one, and I'll keep asking the questions, because I do want to hear everyone's opinion on here. Because one of my favorite things in video games, the genre, is, we talked about this last time, is beat 'em ups. And with the upcoming release of Double Dragon, what's that new one, Ace? The one from the one being devved by Arc System Works?
Double Dragon Revive?
Revive, yeah, right. And Revive is the key point here. Will Revive bring back the beat 'em up and kind of like back onto the mainstream platform? Because I feel like in the 80s and even early 90s, beat 'em ups were like up there. In the arcades, beat 'em ups were the thing for you. Now, I don't want to have these devs that have these crazy ideas of monetizing beat 'em ups in a predatory way, as we talked about earlier. But is the beat 'em up genre finally evolving, or are we just reliving the past one uppercut at a time? So, with Arc System Works officially revealing a new Double Dragon game in development, all eyes are back on the Lee brothers and the genre that helped define side-scrolling action. Last year's Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons, gave the franchise a new visual style, a roguelike mechanic, and a tag team play. It was fresh, but also familiar, and it reminded us of the game's potential, but also its limits. Are we missing somebody?
Oliver's gone.
Where
I
did
am.
he's just Campbell.
Oh, there he is.
I was like, oh no.
Okay, right on. All right, so the question is, have beat 'em ups truly evolved or just survived? Is it nostalgia, or innovation? Double Dragon Gaiden leaned heavily into retro vibes with chunky sprites, which is my personal aesthetic, and classic gameplay loops. But does nostalgia restrict innovation? Like, will Arc System new Double Dragon lean forward or stay planted in the past? What do we think so far? So starting with Duder, just pop in there. What do you know? First of all, do you know about Double Dragon Revolt?
I actually did not, but it's good. It's good to know about this. It's good to learn.
I'll put up the gameplay. And then,
Sweet.
Tell me a
now.
little bit.
I hope y'all don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, if I parallel to the literature industry, because I'm going to speak with what I know. It's not that I don't know games. It's just I am a professional author. Am I good? Well, I can take on most authors in the octagon to prove it if you want, but beyond that, that's fighting. That's fighting. That's not writing. That's the joke. No, when it comes to the industry, now there's certain mainstays that will always be there. You know what I mean? You got your romance novels, you got your werewolf shifter stuff. This stuff will sell. You got the erotica. I won't talk too much about that. I've only done a couple, and I was told never do it again. But ultimately, when it comes, I saw that chuckles. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, though, there are certain genres that will always surge back up, and it's not something that you can. Most of the time, it's not something you can really foresee. But things like, for instance, my favorite, urban fantasy. Urban fantasy was really big like 10 years ago. It was also big 10 years before that. And I'm not saying it's a 10-year cycle, but I am saying that it is cyclical. It will pop up every now and then. Suddenly a bunch of urban fantasy books will sell and suddenly becomes a thing that they talk about on Goodreads and other places, in general, New York Times publishers and such. And it's the same thing here. I honestly believe that no matter what genre you're into, there are some mainstays that will always be there. We're always going to see an RPG be released sometime in the year. You know what I mean? We'll see a fighting game that will come out within the year. But beat 'em ups, I think that's exactly what I'm talking about here. It's a cycle. Every now and then it'll pop up every now and then. Now, have they evolved or just survived? To go back to answer your question, is it nostalgia or is it innovation? I guess it all depends actually on what are they doing. The thing about it is, like my jokes, I play darts with a shotgun. Eventually, I'm going to hit the center with something. And it's the same thing here. If you have enough people putting out and pumping out enough games that aren't just slop, mind you, but that they're trying different things. They're trying to put stuff out there. I mean, how many people here remember Final Fight Streetwise? No, seriously, I'm actually asking you guys. Who here remembers Final Fight Street? Come on. Yeah, I know. Ace, put your hand down. I know you remember that one.
I remember it.
Bro, that's in our playlist. But I'm just saying, it brought some new stuff to the 3D beat 'em up. It brought the soundtrack. It brought the game, And even though people will dog on that, I mean, I'll dog on the bouncer, but people love the bouncer, and some people love the bouncer. Same thing with me and me and Final Fight Streetwise. I'm not gonna sit there and argue that it's like the best thing ever, but but because they tried, because they put it out there and did it. It wasn't the best storyline wise. Let's not talk about that, please. Don't pick on the actual honest weakness here. But it did bring over some innovative ideas as far as this, once again, the soundtrack, the way you can acquire records, things of that nature, the way you can build up your character and learn new stuff from masters and mentors. I've seen games where they do stuff like that since then, So the way I put it out there, it doesn't have to be nostalgia. It just has to be innovative in what it presents. If they're just throwing stuff out there, like, for instance, the roulette wheel that we mentioned earlier, Unlimited Saga, it didn't really work that well, but hey, God Hand, I know they're not connected, but I'm just saying that as a concept. So innovation. I'm in the innovative team here.
You're in team innovation?
Team innovation.
All right. I like it. Very good insight.
Hooligans take over. Your turn, Ace.
So, much like was said a few moments ago, well, to paraphrase what was said a few moments ago, this is one of those don't call it a comeback, I've been here for years kind of situations. Like, you're going to have beat 'em ups that are, going to be put out there on the market to varying levels of success. But the big thing that beat 'em ups do, not only are they a relatively easy format of game to develop compared to something like, the sprawling, story focused narrative RPGs, or even, or even hybrids, right? sports games and beat 'em ups are like the two game design formats that tend to stick around for quite a while. And what they do, they tend to be the canaries in the coal mine as far as taking, various settings or story beats or mechanics and, literally throwing them out there. Shotgun at the dartboard. Something's going to hit center mass and something's going to click with the audience. Again, taking the roulette wheel concept, for example, when you're dealing with a turn-based RPG and you're using the roulette wheel for everything, that's not going to fly. But let's say in God Hand, you've got yourself a beat 'em up where the roulette wheel is literally, okay, you've got all these wacky, super moves. Let's spin the wheel and see which one you get. Let's play the Price is Right. Next thing you know, someone's getting kicked in the stones.
Except for that one mini boss.
Yeah, except for Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A.
But I think the question shouldn't be, is it innovation versus nostalgia? I think the question really should be, is said beat 'em up going to bring something new to the table to begin with? I mean, Scott Pilgrim is a great example of a beat 'em up with, more high def sprite work that actually fuses. Thank you. You've got your high def character sprites, and then you've also got your, pixelated, retro effects that kind of, fuse together. You've got something like Double Dragon Neon that just is a damn near a complete parody of the OG Double Dragon games with a killer, 80s soundtrack. And there's also, the concept of, finding mixtapes to teach your characters stuff. You've got Double Dragon Gaiden, which leans into the, the heavy heavily pixelated style, but also brings various roguelike elements to the game. You've got Absalom, which is, effectively, Andre just said it. It's effectively Dragon's Crown in Hades, having a baby and taking the Brawl Mart. It's really, again, just take your pick. Take your pick, and does it, even if it's just one concept, does it at the very least try to innovate at, on some level? And most of them do. But then you have ones like Double Dragon 4.
Technically a sequel, a DLC sequel to Double Dragon 2. Technically.
Schlop.
I mean, it is no different to it. I mean, yeah. Anyway, well, I digress. All right, NoShoes. Oh, also, I'm assuming team innovation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's 2 for innovation.
Okay, so the argument is innovation or nostalgia, correct?
Yeah. Do you think this game right here that we're seeing on the screen, are they going to lean forward towards nostalgic points, or are they going to, or kind of like innovate a little bit? It looks like they're doing a little bit of both. This is from Tokyo Game Show, I think.
Well, yeah, just based on watching just this gameplay here, it looks. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, it looks more nostalgic than anything else. I'm really not seeing a whole lot of like innovation as far as like a beat 'em up would be, when we talk innovation, I think of again, like Ace brought up, Scott Pilgrim was innovative in building on kind of core aspects of River City Ransom, the Kunio series, which I'll bring up here in a minute as well. But I'm not seeing any like, I don't know. It's hard to say from this video that we're watching right here whether it's going to be a more innovative or nostalgic thing. But I think they're trying to lean more towards nostalgia than anything else because, again, I'm not seeing really innovation other than what's the enemy status bars above them. That's innovative, I guess, for Double Dragon, right? I don't
Did
know.
you happen to play the Gaiden not
No.
that long ago?
No,
Okay.
I haven't played any of the newer like beat 'em up iterations. Probably the newest thing I played is probably River City Girls 2. Is like
Okay.
the newest beat 'em up. But
Did you play Double Dragon Neon as
No.
well? They came out a while back.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
No.
Wait, just jump in. Are we talking about beat 'em ups in general, which is what I was seeing here, as I was thinking, or are we talking about specifically this game?
Well, we're talking about this game, but at the same time, we're talking about the genre itself. Also,
Okay.
Double Dragon
Good.
kind of led the charge historically on this thing.
Well, as far as like the genre is concerned, in my opinion, if a beat 'em up is going to be good for me, it's got to hit that nostalgia. It's got to get that nostalgic itch. I gotta get those tight controls. I gotta get, fairness but challenge all in the same thing. But then also innovation such as like leveling systems and learning new techniques. Double Dragon did that originally. You get the little hearts and you get more abilities as you go along. That was like the innovator right there. But games that are like adding like moves as you progress through the game, or like a higher attack, or like a bigger health bar, whether you earn it or you buy it through some sort of in-game currency that like the enemies drop and whatnot. I feel like that's the innovation. That's the perfect amount, but the nostalgic itch has got to be scratched for me. So I would hope a game would be more nostalgic than innovative, because I mean, how do you innovate something that's 30, almost 40 years old? The genre,
It's like been done, reiterated so many times, right?
Like, and it's really cool when you find a game that kind of does innovate. I'll come back to River City Girls again. Not very linear. It's a whole world that you can explore. It's a beat 'em up. You beat people up on each screen, but you don't have to get from point A to point B. You have to, you start here and then you go to D and then you go to F, and then the good health shop, the good item shop is in H, so we got to run down to H, and then we got to go back to E. So it's like a non-linear, like the way they're introducing non-linear things to beat 'em ups. I think that's really, really cool. That's innovative. But again, what more can you do that's really going to be quote unquote innovative? So got to be the nostalgia for me.
I think that's like one of the challenges they'll probably face, and how to kind of update this to the modern audience, right? Whatever.
Because this looks fine. Fine. It looks a little kind of clunky. I don't know. I'd really have to have a controller in my hand to control it to say
the game
whether
feel.
or not it looks kind of stiff. But like just looking at the game, it kind of looks a little stiff to me. So
okay.
I don't know. That overhead smash looks kind of cheapy to me, but that's just me.
It is still in production, right? And I think it comes out October, Ace.
Yeah, it's October.
Okay, right on. All right. So Team Nostalgia for NoShoes.
shocker.
Oliver.
Well, hold on, let me just crack my knuckles because I got some shit for y'all.
Oh, here we go.
So first and foremost, brawling is my favorite video game genre of all time. I love that shit, and I think there is room to innovate. But at the same time, I think most, let's put it this way: I'm looking at fighting game or brawling games as a medical patient, and the prognosis is it's on life support and has been for a very long time, but with some very, very, very intense physical therapy, they could come back in a new way. But the problem is that failure to innovate and do something. And I think I have the solution, because it just opens up a much, much bigger door. There's one thing that the vast majority of brawling games don't do: world persistence and time. Right? It's really all we really have for a persistent game world is River City, and River City is literally goated. I mean, come on, man! You go down to the fucking Riverside and you beat the shit out of Benny and Clyde. You'd be stomping them out like 4 or 5 times across the game. They just keep coming back, right? And the next thing you know, you're in a warehouse beating somebody with a tire, and you got to go down to Oak Hill Mall, and you're over here hollering at this bird over there while trying to catch a roll and read a damn book and get your dragon steps. You're like, Jesus, man, these guys are having a rough ass day, right? You're like, this is dope as hell with the world's longest goddamn password.
Yep.
But
72 characters.
It's
nice. Wow, that's amazing.
But if you were to merely add in to River City Ransom, that old ass game, the changing passage of time and different things happening based on when you're out and about, you're suddenly going to blow the game wide open again, right? I mean,
effect too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the big issue. It's just that they think, oh, well, there's nothing to do in this space. Well, no, you got to get a little bit more creative with this. Just like how, I cannot stand Gearbox software, but Borderlands 1 is one of my favorite games simply because they were like, okay, we're going to make this FPS, but what if we added RPG elements to it? What if we just kind of Diabloized this game? And next thing I know, I'm carrying 8 million guns. I'm like, well, this is the one that I used to shoot pigeons, and this is the one that I used to take down police helicopters. And you're like, holy shit, why do you have that? I don't know. That one's really pretty. It really put life into first-person shooters for me. And brawling games, I think they get so caught up on just the brawl that they forget about the world surrounding the characters and the player. One of the best brawling games I've ever played is not directly a brawling game, but it's done it better than almost anyone else in the business. Sleeping Damn Dogs. Sleeping fucking dogs. Come on, man. He's grabbing that shutter and slamming it on people's heads, and he's putting them through HVAC units. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the craziest cop I've ever seen. Let's keep doing it, right? The next thing you know, grabbed a random Joe Blow on the street, put him in the trunk of the fucking car, and he took off. You're like, this is nuts. But they took like some of the best aspects of, just any typical action game, plucked stuff from Arkham Asylum, and next thing you're looking at this, you're like, this is a brawler that I happen to be able to drive in. This isn't GTA. This is a more street level game. I think that was a whole innovation that people just kind of accidentally glossed over. It's like, yeah, we need to keep running with that thread, because that I don't even know how to start on Double Dragon 4 without like blowing a fucking blood vessel in my eye. That was, I can't believe that shit. It was
pretty dog ass, huh?
Oh man,
it was basically a Nintendo game,
right? And look, it goes all the way back. I'm like, clearly these motherfuckers think they're making games for kids because they clearly hate me. They were like, nope. Like, oh, you want Double Dragon?
I remember 3 being fucking hard as hell. I remember 3 being super hard.
See, a great example. Another game where they fucking hated kids. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get extra lives. They're like, the fuck like you are. You ask you tap out
like
in the first
2, yeah, it was hard, but as you play, you got good, right? And the levels were short enough for you to be like, all right, we can go for another.
I love how Oliver's consistent message is "fuck them kids."
That's how
bring it up for an item.
They fucking
no effects. Fuck the kids.
Playing Double Dragon 3, Sacred Stones. Oh, you gamed over on the first screen. Tough shit, bitch. Get up, do it again. That whole game was it was literally making progress one fucking screen at a time.
Yeah.
Right? That was the Dark Souls of brawling.
It's Nintendo hard.
Yo, if I may bounce off that, Oliver, I got something for you actually. You were talking about progressive worlds, and when I hear that, I also think consequences. So I want you to take your brawler, your side scroller brawler, add some RPG, and what do you get? Who wants to beat me?
Fighter Online.
Guardian Heroes. Yes, Ace, Guardian Heroes. Y'all didn't even remember no Guardian Hero, no Sega Saturn. I may not have the same retro chops where I've played so many games where I just don't remember some of this shit. Like I see this, I'm like, oh, I remember that. I wasn't thinking about that. But sometimes there are certain games that stick with me. And Guardian Heroes was a beat 'em up where you can make choices and decide which route you're going to take. It had a hella RPG element in that sense, because then you got different endings depending on your choices. So I'm just saying it's been done before and it needs to be done again. I wish we had more of that in the modern day beat 'em ups. You know what I mean? I'd be playing more beat 'em ups then. You know, it's that feeling of agency.
Because I've looked at this and I've figured out what the I don't know, we'll say genetic successor, the offspring of the brawling genre, is Ace's favorite. Just when you look at it and stop and think on it for a second, now what really happened is brawlers became Muso games.
I was gonna mention Maso.
Right? It's like you are kind of in there throwing elbows, and if you sit down and you play like Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage, I mean, you just throwing elbows left and right, and then you're like, oh, okay. Except, instead of punching out one guy, you punch out 243 of them all at once, and it's like that's fine. It's perfectly fine, but I don't know what they're doing with Double Dragon Revive. I'm gonna be there for it for sure. Right? But I think that the homies that did Streets of Rage 4 clearly showed that there's no reason for this genre to be dead. Right? With the amount of labor and work that was put in there, and now you're not having to just sit down and do meticulous sprite work. You can just draw it, and that's what the game is going to be, right? There's no loss that is occurring between concept and execution. And I think it really does come down to that. It's that, everyone's going, oh, everything's boring. And so people just kind of looked back. They looked back and they were like, you know what? There were quite a few brawlers. We named so many of them just in the, released this week. But they're just certified bangers. Like, they're just fun no matter what. You can change the time. You can change the date. It almost always works. It's very difficult to make a brawler and have it be bad based on the subject matter, what you chose for it. I mean, come on. They did fucking Aliens versus Predator, for Christ's sake. You over there suplexing a fucking xenomorph. You're like, hell yeah. You're like, wait a minute.
I don't know that shit, yeah.
Right? You're doing that shit. You got the Punisher Rip running out there with Nick Fury. Batman was beating the dog fuck out of people in Batman Returns, and it always worked. It always worked. So I think people just forgot that this genre, for its time, was the action adventure of the industry. Right? There was a time where we didn't have character action Devil May Cry, which is another successor to the brawler.
Agreed.
Right? It's just kind of one of those things. So you can just inject so many different things and change things in so many different ways in a brawler, and it is still a brawler, but maybe we just need some younger developers as they come up and come along to look back on that stuff. And because they're not so close to that subject, they can look at it and really dissect it and figure out something new to do with it.
Fresh eyes, yeah.
Yeah. It's just I think that's what we're desperately in need of.
Okay.
That's my take.
Okay, yeah.
So, innovation?
I don't think they're innovating. I think that there's plenty of room for it.
Okay. I guess I was trying to see which team you were
That's
on.
innovation.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying right now, I think they're all just writing nostalgia.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think there's a ton of room for innovation, and no one's really sure
sure.
how to do it. So I'm kind of interested to see what is going to happen in Double Dragon Revive. Like I said, I'm gonna be in there day one. I just saw him throw a motherfucker in the refrigerator, so I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
That's one.
like,
That's gold.
That was actually one of the things that they emphasize and have been emphasizing in the advertisements for Double Dragon Revive, that it's, there's going to be a greater focus on, the interactivity with the surroundings. So yeah, act up. You might get hit with a trash can.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
that
thinking River City
there's that
Ransom.
sleeping dogs aspect you want right there. So
That's what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we might have to, we might have to throw a guy in a boat.
I'm getting tired of
motor.
picking up trash cans. I want to throw a dude into a
Or red
wall,
barrels,
and then the
you
brick
know,
comes
whatever.
out, and I don't want to smash his.
If I may just put out a joke out there, I don't know why we're talking about this when it's going to end up on Fortnite anyway.
because the game's got to be
Made me
popular to
fucking
put it
That's a
in.
joke. Okay, no, that's true.
You know, because if the game wasn't
Blaze
popular, they
Fielding.
wouldn't put it in Fortnite.
And before Blaze Fielding going to show up on Fortnite. Yeah, we called it there right here.
That's some hurtful shit he has said.
Why
would you do that?
That's where games go to die.
They did all kinds of stuff on Fortnite now. It ain't even the original game. It's so far removed from what it's supposed to be. I don't even know anymore.
It's a platform. That definitely is an episode on its own. But yeah, I was gonna show these various beat 'em ups here because we may see some innovation on these clips here, because as the formula is very similar. Like for that one, that was showing numbers for the damage, right? Like there's some stuff here that we may be like, wow, I've never seen that before, or yeah, I've seen that before. Like multi-lane.
Commando.
Yeah, stuff like this. So I'm glad I found this video. But yeah, I'm gonna say I'm actually agree with you with a lot of you guys that it's a little bit hybrid of both. I think nostalgia will grab people's attention. Like, oh, a new Double Dragon game has my attention, but like, will I keep playing it? I think the innovation will have to kind of keep me entertained. Otherwise, I'll move on to another game. And this actually leads up to our next question because this is a multifaceted topic. Combat depth. Do we want it? So series like Streets of Rage 4 added more combo potential and tight mechanics, but most beat 'em ups are still kind of like move right, punch, right? Should the genre borrow from fighting games, especially since ArcSys is behind this one, or should they say simple and accessible? Kind of like, and this is why I kind of wanted to show a variety of different beat 'em ups here. So, Duder, what do you think?
This is a very painful question. So here's the thing about it. When it comes to the industry, the business sense of it, it's really, you're going to find your audience. You're going to build your tribe, as it is said over and over and over again. And you're going to appeal to them. This is such just extremes. This is so extremes to this one. Like, for instance, I will easily and happily say, yeah, give me more combat depth. I want summons. I want spells. And let's not even go RPG. I want the ability to like creatively customize my character and give him cybernetics. So now he's shooting out missiles and stuff in the middle of the fight. Yeah, let's go for it, dude. As long as it is still the DNA of a brawler, that's that beat 'em up. Get it in there, But with that noted, I'm pretty certain. And please forgive me if I am just jumping all over you on this, but I'm certain that NoShoes would probably want to be more nostalgic. As you mentioned earlier, some of the games that he's already mentioned, which, hey, no, that's perfectly fine too. But here's the thing about it. When, do we want it? First define we. I ain't trying to Jordan Peterson this. I'm just saying some people would rather see this be old school as all get out and keep it that way. Some people want original River City Ransom. Others want River City Girls. You know what I mean? They want that new stuff. So as for me, yeah, give me all the new innovation as long as it doesn't suck. And I'm not going to scream about it online because I will scream about it online if it sucks. I want to be able to press the buttons and stuff to happen. And I want cool stuff to happen. If you don't mind me just being this pretentious, I write cool stuff. I write about summoning terror trains and blasting them into angels and stuff. We out here fighting Cthulhu with our bare hands and our balls out. I want that in my brawler. Ace,
right.
Your turn.
Hold on. PSA.
Sorry.
Please, folks, if you get into a fist fight, never have your balls out. That's a way to lose. You're gonna lose real quick. No, put the balls back. Fight the Cthulhu, but put.
I disagree. Some of the porn I have seen, it is best to have your balls out.
Don't let them dangle in the wind. Sensitive.
Yeah. Cthulhu Fatagan does these nuts.
Dude, you're an algorithmic nightmare. That's all I gotta say. That's the quote for tonight. You're an algorithmic nightmare.
Oh no! I can't monetize this.
I heard a bunch of terms that shouldn't be in the same sentence. But I still love you. That's why I invited you.
It's all good.
All right, Ace. My guess for Ace, give me all the combos. Give me all the moves. Because this man, he's got moves.
So as far as combat depth in beat 'em ups, Now, again, even outside of my usual Muso fix, I have explored and I have done my damnedest to play as many beat 'em ups as I possibly could. That's what I grew up on, even more so than one-on-one fighting games. Beat 'em ups have been my bread and butter, and I've played stuff that's as simplistic as, say, the OG Double Dragon, to stuff where you actually have, command inputs and combo trees and even hotkeys for moves that you don't have mapped to any of the button commands, like, as I mentioned earlier, Dungeon Fighter Online. So, as far as combat depth, yes, I would love to see, I'd love to see games that give me more options for how I am going to whoop someone's ass, whether it's what my character has with them as part of their kit, whether it's what they eventually learn and achieve as they grow up and make their way into different advanced classes and advanced character types, or whether it's being able to just pick up various objects or various people and beat people with those people.
Don't forget the healthy roast chicken in the trash cans. The healthy wall chicken.
Well,
Can't forget the Metro City special.
and I think
Yeah,
like
these motherfuckers do be eaten out of the trash a lot.
they do. They find chicken on the floor.
Apples.
What Oliver was saying, like the world being part of the combat, like in Sleeping Dogs. I think that's escalates combat and combos. So what is this game? This is not a beat 'em up.
So yeah, honestly, what I would like to see though is I'd like to see more combat depth, so long as it is setting appropriate and doesn't bog down the player.
Agreed.
Okay.
If you want to play the game with only a jab, you should be able to do that to a point. Jab, jab, uppercut. But after that, oh no, I want to start doing some cross combos where when I hit a specific percentage of the HP of the boss, the soundtrack changes.
and this is where a great example of that would be God Hand.
Yes.
With God Hand, you could literally walk through the game with the starting move set that Gene has right out of the box. It has been done.
I feel like we can't go on a podcast, our podcast, with everybody in this room without saying God Hand.
It's that good of a game. It is that good of a
You
game.
guys really love talking about God Hand.
It's that good of a game.
It's a great game.
No, it's great. No,
But at the same
game
time,
is good.
you do have
thought
the
about
option
speedrun
of,
it
say,
once.
with more of the moves that you unlock, you can go deeper into the combat. You can create new styles. You can set up move sets that are, all based on one particular style just by looking through the moves. But, again, you have the option of experiencing the whole buffet or just sticking with the orange chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess it's just different levels. Like, I think it's good to have it. That way, if you get bored of just pressing one button, you have other options, to play. So, understandable. No shoes?
We were just watching the Scott Pilgrim playthrough.
That was dope.
I think they really did it right with you're starting off with your basic, your punch, your kick, your dash, whatever, and then as you go along, as you level up, you begin to learn things. But they're not too crazy complicated. Like, we're not trying to do like a fucking Tekken 36 hit combo or something. It's like square, square, triangle, and then that's like a more powerful attack, and you only progress a certain amount of levels, and you only learn a certain amount of like moves, so you're not bogged down. I think it's important to have those moves to kind of give the game a little bit of flavor, and each separate character having their own kind of like similar but different move sets, maybe with like differences in damages and such. But I need something that my fingers are going to be dancing on the controller, not just mashing. So I'm really into the combo set that games are starting to kind of develop and kind of
Yeah.
into them a little more. I don't know. I'm trying to trail off here, but yeah, no combos. I like combos.
Yeah, I think part of that too. I'll just say this real quick. I was watching Streets of Rage 4 because I put a lot of time into this game. I think the variation of characters would help with that, just because like Max in this game, right, is just like 1, 2, 3 hit, and then it's like you're done. While like Axel and like Blaze, they have like 6 hit combos, and then we'll have more complicated movesets. So I think having a variety of different characters you can choose from will actually exercise that variety.
Totally.
Oliver?
I think that being combo thin is probably better, but you have to make up for that. I think it's a very basic pendulum. If you're going to have this deeply complex move set, because it's not necessarily bad, but you need to stay focused on that to the exclusion of all other things within the game. Right? If you're gonna go super simple on your combos, if you're gonna go Streets of Rage, right? Like I think that's probably the healthiest balance. Then put more emphasis on other things. We talk about River City Ransom. That didn't really have like the craziest combos in the world, but your interactivity was quite high. I mean, come on, we're making that fucking totem out of trash cans and people, right? On top of it, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna take this trash can that's got a dude on it and throw that shit at you, and that dude's gonna throw his trash can at you. Is it useful? That's debatable. Is it fucking rad that you can do it? Absolutely. Right? Because there's always some guy who's like, yeah, we did an entire run of River City Ransom in 53 minutes, only defeating every enemy with that totem combo. And I'm like, how? But I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna fucking watch it on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this is dope. And then I'm gonna run and tell my wife because I'm fucking stupid. I'm like, baby, I'm watching these fucking knuckleheads do this shit in this game that I played back in 1989. It's great. I'm gonna try it now. Right? I'm gonna do stuff like that. But we only had an A button and a B button. And that limitation made them very creative in everything you could do. Right? From even though we've got the A and the B button, we got brass knuckles, sticks, tires, trash cans, boxes. It was when I don't know when River City came out. It probably was like 89 or something. All I'm saying is we were beating motherfuckers with rocks in that game. And I knew we were onto something. They're like, no, pick up a rock and bash his fucking brains in. We're like, wait a minute, how many people have I murdered?
Yo, once you get Grand Slam, it's lights out, dude.
There you go.
It's pretty busted. Any of those pretty busted.
Find a metal pipe
Grand Slam?
and you're good.
Yeah.
Dragon Feet,
Dragon
Aggro
Feet.
Circus. Like you're getting all these other things that create variety without making you go, so you got to memorize this 87 button combination. Like that skill ceiling can really turn people off. So I think there's a happy balance that can be found, and that is
Totally.
simple combos, but it needs strong support for the rest of the game's world system to keep things fresh and interesting. Everyone's got a weird River City Ransom story of some nonsense that has happened to them, getting hit in the back of the fucking neck coming out of the park, right? Getting hit with the rock because you were trying to get the fuck out of there because you had that one fucking slip and you knew because he's doing the breathing. All bent over and shit. You're like, if I don't get the fuck out of here, I'm going to lose this $85 in my pocket. And next thing, and you're like, boo. And you're like, I'm going to wake up in the fucking mall. And now I have
It's
$40.
just like vibrating against the wall.
Can't have
and
anything in River
literally
City.
just obliterating your whole HP bar.
You're
for some
absolutely devastated, right? And it had nothing
bullshit.
to do with the combinations. It had to do with the system surrounding it. So I think that's where it's at. Like, and if we can get people to innovate in that direction.
reason. Alex has lost all his power.
And I mean, that's why I occasionally go back to play River City Ransom Underground. I start that game up. I'm chilling in the classroom. Next thing you know, Terry Crews busts through the wall like pop, 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 power, and I am gone.
I love it. And he's the principal, right? Of the school.
Principal Obobo.
Yeah. Man. That's crazy.
I'm done.
All right. I love it, guys. I love like the variety of kind of like perspectives everybody has. Which actually I was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. So that's why I love an open forum. We'll get into the final round here of this question, and this is what makes the rhetorical. Now, starting from Duder over here, I will ask you, if you could design the ultimate beat 'em up in 2025, what would it look like? What studio would make it? In what style? And do we get pets? So yeah, give us part of the rhetorical is the what if and what could be. So what's your dream beat 'em up?
It'd be an RPG. It'd be made by Team Blackjack, and yes, you can pet the pets. These are all rhetorical. This is a rhetorical game that me and Ace are involved with.
Okay, so it's a private.
That's it's an inside joke. So inside, only he and I know about it. No, I stole that joke from someone else. Oh my god. No, when it comes to Arc System, I put it like this. In some things, industry and genre is very important. And if you have the history of it, you should stick with your strengths. However, an artist is going to art. And Arc System Works, they've given us a lot of love. A lot. One could argue that most companies have, in one way or another. We were just talking about Square Enix, Squeenix. We were just talking about Capcom, Namco, Bandai. If they suddenly said, well, I want to do this genre, are we going to sit there and be like, nah, bro? Are we going to go, yeah, we'll give it a shot. If it sucks, we're going to make fun of you on the internet. But otherwise, go to twitter.com and make fun of you. But otherwise, no. If Arc System wants to do a Double Dragon style beat 'em up, I relish the thought. I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, I didn't heard about this until I got on here tonight. Now I'm going, ooh, yes. And so yeah. If we're talking about a rhetorical beat 'em up game, let Arc System do what they're gonna do. I want a guy with all the belt and zippers. I want him to name something like Iron Maiden Fresco or something. I want him to have a Queen tablature in his leitmotif playing in the background. And above all, Soul Bad Guy should be there. And yes, you should be able to pet the pets.
So let me rephrase the question. This is your dream beat 'em up. It doesn't have to be Double Dragon.
Oh, that's the one I would make then. Yeah. That's just that I said it earlier.
Warriors.
It's just me and Ace, Team Blackjack, doing some stuff, making some stuff, and y'all
to make it.
What was that?
And you want Arc System Works to make it?
Yes.
What would it be? 3D or pixel art or hand drawn?
Okay, now you're starting to ask me. Actually, you're trying to make me be real and serious about this.
That's called a rhetorical.
True. Ultimately, I don't know. I mentioned Final Fantasy Streetwise earlier, and obviously it's a game that stuck with me. But we were, Toxic Crusaders came on right now, and I was like, ooh, that reminds me of Captain Commando. I remember that. That was a fun game. Now, if I could take Captain Commando, have the ability to grab somebody, pull them over in the environment, and I don't know, Yakuza, 7 their head into a car or something. That'd be cool. Give me some of that specials. Give me that special work. That's what I'd love to see in a brawler. So let's say, rhetorically speaking, a 2-dimensional side scroller, just like what we're seeing here, except more environmental stuff, even more environmental stuff. You know what I mean? Earlier, there was that steampunk one you had on where they did a super special thing, like it was a fighting game. It's like the person shows in the background, like, and they do their thing. I'd love to see something like that. You know what I mean? So
you want to? So I heard you want to pixel art.
Yeah, let's do it pixelated, 2-dimensional, pixelated. Give me that environmental work. Give me the in-depth stuff. Give me the usual that you would expect.
That's an interesting one because environmental work and pixel art is like it's high.
It can be done. It
can be done, but there's a lot of maintenance on it for sure. So it's never been done before, so it's super cool. I like that idea.
Possibly. But like I said, if there's environmental stuff there that you can bounce off of and, go take it from there, I'm certain it could be done. Now, if I had the money for it, would I invest in something like that? Yes, I would. But, I ain't there yet. Catch me in 10 years.
Okay.
A decade later, if you don't have it out, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah, dude. I better not see a kickstart from that.
I'm going to
project.
Trust. The day that it happens, y'all will hear from me.
I will terrorize your Kickstart if I see that Kickstart.
Bro, I'd go to Indiegogo.
I'll give him clips of this show.
We'll hold him legally to account. He said
2 minutes
ago.
All right.
3-dimensional. I'm gonna make it VR just to spite all of you.
Ace, dream, beat 'em up. What you got?
My dream beat 'em up. That's a I don't know. There's so many ways I could go with it for something I would consider my dream beat 'em up. And this is just, if I want to stick to like if I want to actually stick to, beat 'em ups, not like, taking it further into, Muso territory or anything like that. So firstly, I think I would actually go with something like even if I still stick with something that's more of a that's closer to a 2D side scroller, I think I would still want it to actually be in 3D, or at the very least I would want it to have the sort of visual aesthetic, the sort of art design that we've got with, say, you know with Marvel Tokon Fighting Spirit, or like with Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I want something that's animated, something that's vibrant, something where the action can be read and it just like really pulls you in as as you're playing through the game and as you're doing all this wild shit on screen. As far as like the game itself, honestly, if I'm just going, right off the top of my head with the first thing I could think of, I would really like to see Captain Commando come back.
For the folks at home that don't know, that's a game where you play as a fucking baby, absolutely obliterating fools, and it's probably Nick's newborn.
Yeah, they got to get a mech first though. That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
Controlled by like two levers. All right, so I heard 3D beat 'em up from Arc System Works in the style of Marvel Tolkien. Sounds expensive, but hey, sounds awesome. What's the aesthetic like? What's in it, like the content wise?
What was the question?
Like like what's the beat 'em up? Where the characters? Is the future, past?
What's the settings and aesthetic?
Yeah.
Oh, the setting.
Like you never had a dream about like I'm gonna make my own beat 'em up game. It's gonna be like with these characters.
Well, again, I just want to bring back Captain Commando.
Oh, that's right, Captain Commando. So you want a Captain Commando 2 beat 'em up by Arc System Works?
Huh.
Okay, there we go. That was it. Okay, cool. I mean, I'd play it. Shit, I'd play it.
Well, again, if you don't want to spend that much money on it, it could be, Captain Commando done by, again, the art team that did Fatal Fury City of the Wolves.
Yep. Oh wow, is this a PC version? I think this is weird.
River City Ransom.
It looks weird.
It's way
This is
too animated.
underground.
There's too many additional.
Yeah, there's like
animation.
so many frames to it. It's gotta be a PC version.
Cuneo, what have
No,
they
this-
done to you?
This is River City Underground.
Oh, is it the
Oh.
flashback? I think it's a flashback scene, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's why it looks really weird. All right, right on. All right, Jace, man, Scott Pilgrim 3, because 2 is already coming out.
Okay, so yeah, first off, Scott Pilgrim EX. We didn't even say nothing about that. Very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. But let me ask you, gentlemen, something. Have you ever heard of Kings of Power 4,000,000,000%?
That sounds crazy. What is that?
I want that.
Yeah, look this up.
If you can pull this up in the video, I want that fully realized as a game done by Paul Robertson, who did the original animation, and I want it done by Tribute Games, and I want it to be fucking crazy bananas as it is. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a 6 or 7 minute video. It's like this pixelation, and it's this like fucking game that was never a game, and it's just wild.
What the
Yeah, check
fuck?
this shit out.
Whoa.
So
I just
this
looked it
is,
up.
this is
Oh,
what
there
I
you go.
want. I want it done by Tribute Games, and I want Paul Robertson to make this.
Violence Kings. I
This
love
shit's
that.
crazy. The music is awesome in this fucking little cartoon.
Is-
too.
Is this the same artist as Scott Pilgrim?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. No, this is
So-
awesome.
So it just yeah, It's
This isn't
wild.
a game.
Good
No,
lord.
it's not a game.
I think
This
I've
is- This is a
seen.
cartoon.
Wow, that's cool.
You got like all these people that are like the supposedly good guys trying to like fight these people. They're all popping out of portals and shit, and stuff's crazy. And you see
Oh man,
references from a bunch of other stuff.
That little girl
I
has
wanna-
an M60.
I want to see this. I want to
That
see
little
this
girl's got
as
a
an
Claymore.
actual game. So
this is awesome. No, it's even hard to believe that I'm just watching this video. I'm like, this is not a game. This is great.
I'd
it's
play
got
this.
a whole bunch of like references from like other games and such. Yeah, it's wild. But I'd love to play this game.
Oh my god, there's a lot going on.
It's crazy.
Hey, good. This is what I'm talking about.
All right, I
Yeah.
dig it.
I want this game.
All right, Oliver.
All I'm going to say is about this is that the Venn diagram of this and Skippity Toilet is looking a little close.
When this came
Like-
out, I want to say like 2008, 2009. This video.
This
They
is
about to do the
crazy.
chaos dunk?
Damn. Yeah, no,
That's-
they're going real shut up and jam action here,
Shit
aren't
gets
they?
real
Yeah.
crazy. Like this isn't even. You just like. I
Also,
literally want you to beat this game, put the controller down, and be like, "What the fuck did I just fucking play?"
It would not
That's what
surprise
this
me
is.
if the work here is how they were able to work on Scott Pilgrim. Because this is actually very, very, very
This is the
inspiring.
portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very
Taking
impressive,
notes.
actually.
We're taking notes, Ace. We're taking notes.
So, my ass has a list.
Nice.
Shit. Like, nope. I'm ready to go. Like, don't ask me. Like, this is my favorite fucking genre.
Prepared for class today.
Telling you, I wasn't playing. You were like, hey, you want to? I'll tell you what my favorite, my dream game would be. So, before I even start here, I made a note here because, again, completely coincidental. Before you even sent me the syllabus, I created a grievous fucking error that I should have just let lay in history. So again, when I was a wee lad, when as my mom would say, when Hector was a pup, so I was like 12.
My uncle used to
The
say that
Double
shit.
Dragon movie came out.
Oh.
And I always wanted to see that shit. And I made the fucking mistake of watching that shit 3 days ago.
Ow. Ow.
I
Dude
should have
from
left
Party of
that
Five is
shit
in that movie,
alone.
right?
Like he should have just stuck to the Neo Geo game.
I
Just
should have
kept
just
it
left
in your
that shit
fantasies.
there. Oh man, I was just mad. I was mad in the first fucking 45 seconds. I was like, what is this shit? They're like, listen, man, this ain't Los Angeles. It's New Angeles. The big one has happened. I was like, the big one has not happened. Stop fucking lying to me. They're like, there's nothing but smog everywhere. I'm like, no, man, you're probably fine to breathe the fucking air there still, right? They had jacks. They had jacks for every building because they were like, oh yeah, no, it's just aftershocks. They've been going on for years. I'm like, none of this is how this works. I was just sad, and Billy was a dick. And I'm like, oh, there's that motherfucker from Iron Chef. Hey.
Yep, that's the guy.
Fucking Jimmy.
So I just wanted to bring that up and say, why would they do this? Like, look, there's just like a horrible combination of shit that came out in that window that is just terribly adapted. And Double Dragon is definitely up there as never do that again. You took a very simple premise. It was just look, look, we had the best storytelling ever of all time in Double Dragon 1. Your opening credits, it was 6 seconds. You're like, oh man, that chick looks fine. Bam! Punched in the stomach. You're like, oh my god, they done punched his girl and then cut loose. And then you're like, yeah, they gotta go beat ass across the city. That's what you gotta do. You know, I gotta go get Marion, right? No, you fucked around and get Alyssa Milano in that shit.
lady and know what's
You know what was
going
good
on.
though? You know what was good? Double Dragon the cartoon. Y'all remember that in the 90s?
I think
The ones with the swords?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the code of the dragon, fight for right, the might. How do I remember this? Oh my god! With the mark of- I hated the art style, but the story was pretty tight. If you should look into that. I'm just saying, you'd have liked that.
I
thing.
bet you liked tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly
You
Hills.
don't you put that on me.
You went too low. I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Shit, the nerve is struck.
Why?
Some deep
I
cuts in here.
Why the hell? You have to bring up Protect
Say
two
it.
teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Why?
Because I want everyone else to have the same curse in their head as I do. Right?
Is-
It's like Cthulhu shit, man. Like
Is this payback for every time I mention playing fighting games on keyboard?
All of that.
yes.
Gotta spread the madness. Spreading
So my
madness.
list. My list.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Mm.
So for me, I think that my dream game would have, well, first and foremost, you would have your city. It would be broken down into specific districts, right?
Hmm.
It's not just, oh, look, here's the wharf. It's 2 screens. No, make the wharf the fucking wharf. Anyone that's been down on a dock or seen a dock, those are massive areas, right? Your ass can get lost down by the fucking docks in a coastal city. That's just a fact. That should be its own separate combat district, right? And then you're going out to the suburbs. You know, I want to see somebody get their head thrown through a fucking picket fence, right? Everyone's the downtown is a given, right? Most brawlers take place in the
Specific
downtown
violence.
if they're modern, right? And so there's just a lot of room to explore. I want an actual city where I can move between districts, and I think that not necessarily a brawler, but a game that doesn't get enough credit and definitely needs some of its mechanics carried forward. Spider-Man versus the Kingpin comes to mind. I think that's what I think before the Insomniac Spider-Man games and God, what was that dope ass one? Web of Shadows, right? Before that, Spidey versus the Kingpin on Genesis was like the best superhero game ever made, just because it captured every aspect of Spider-Man, right? The things that he's got to live his double life. He's got his rogues gallery. He doesn't have infinite web fluid. He needs to do his job in order to get more web fluid. Sometimes you got to go home in that game, and that's something that we don't see enough of in a brawler. Go home. You're like, well, what the fuck would you do at your house? You could do all kinds of shit. Look, I'm just saying, you could take your ass home and cook, right?
Hey, yo, sleeping dogs. You mentioned sleeping dogs earlier.
See, take your ass home and fucking cook. Do something. Hang out, rest, recuperate. Maybe you do something like you take significant injuries, a la Metal Gear Solid 3, right? You can only get punched in the fucking ribs so many times before some shit cracks, right? And we need to have those effects actually have real impact on your gameplay. Like, oh, I don't know, if you got a cracked rib, sometimes you just drop combos, right? Because the character has to stop and wince in the middle of it, and it just happens sporadically until you go the fuck home and treat your shit, right? It's unexplored space. I mean, for a game that's all about, or a genre that's all about fucking people up, we don't have enough impacts on us getting fucked up, right? And that's kind of where I'm going with that. It's we could explore that. We could see what kind of ideas. At the same time, you could take all kinds of look. All I'm saying is, if River City Ransom would be very different if you took your ass down to the drugstore, right? and you got your pharmaceuticals. Look, just get some fucking Tylenol in there to deaden the pain temporarily, right? Okay, for the next 5 minutes, you're just going to take a little less damage, right? Try to do some shit. I don't know. Fucking go full Breaking Bad. Make yourself some meth. Make yourself some fucking meth. Do something interesting here, God damn it. Be like, hey, somebody just cooked here. Be like, yeah, they did.
I'm still cooking.
What is happening?
We just heated, bro.
And to support all of that stuff, Yakuza did this one thing spectacular. Mini games, right? Every little thing in Yakuza, even though I've never been able to finish one, all those systems connect together really well. And to have more dynamic events like that, can you imagine a fucking Mr. Shakedown in a classic 2D brawler? Just rolling up on your ass like Jason in Friday the 13th on the NES? That's shit's scary, right? I don't want to get beat up for my $87. Like fuck that.
Oliver, answer honestly. Do you have $87 on you right now? That's why I keep bringing it up.
Do.
That number's
You ain't
on
shaking me
you.
down.
That number's on you.
Hell no. I don't want to get shook down for that shit. Fuck that. I'm going to take the fucking bus.
Don't forget the Mr. Shakedown thing, though, is that if you beat him up the second time you see him, you get double your money back.
Right. I'm not a gambling man.
Yeah.
But that kind of system, no, we're not doing that in these games. And then just to throw it for setting, to answer that, just to throw people for a loop, 1950s. 1950s, come on, fighting some fucking greasers, right? You got the girls in the damn poodle skirts, cheering for your ass on the sideline, on the sidewalk. You got
I'm already West Side Story.
Yeah, yes, I wrote West Side Story down.
Ooh, see,
right there. Give us some of that Jets and the Sharks, or failing that,
So West Side,
just beat it.
West Side Story meets Uppers.
That's a good one. That's a good call. Uppers.
See,
it writes itself. It writes itself. It really does.
I don't
why you
know if any of you guys have played Punch Club, but that kind of reminds me of Punch Club a little bit.
I haven't heard of that.
It's like this little mini indie PC game that's like $2, and you're a fighter, and what you do is like you work out, and then you like eat, drink, right, and you have to also like not be stressed out, and then after you do balance all those things, you get to go in a fight, and you level up from your fights, you get more moves and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Yeah, it's not a beat 'em up.
Fighting an alligator.
That's Punch Club.
Like as a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, that's Punch Club. The combat is non-existent because you just click on stuff and stats, make sure you win or lose, right? But I feel like your beat 'em up with a mixture of Fight Club's like mechanics, I feel like that's like I'm already like I want to play that game,
Yeah. Give me some fucking inventory, a little bit of inventory, not too much, right? I don't want to have to worry about micromanaging my socks, right? But I want to be in a position where, anyone that's been in real street fights in their lives know that you get some highly unorthodox fucking weaponry. Okay, right? All I'm saying is, what is that bullshit called? Oh, I can't remember. Soccer hooligans. Football hooligans will basically make themselves an improvised club out of a newspaper and pissing on it. Right?
That's actually not heard of.
That's some primal shit.
I have not heard of it. I've heard of a lot of street warfare. I have never heard of that.
Dude,
really?
Pissing on a newspaper, rolled up newspaper.
Yeah, it's called a Millwall brick.
I'm not going to look that up because I don't want that on my
courtesy
history.
of USA Today.
No, like even if you literally just type in Millwall brick, you're not going to see anything nasty. Like no, it's just you're going to see it's a fucking club made out of a newspaper. It's like what?
I know you can use a rolled up magazine. I know you can use a rolled up magazine to great effect in a street fight, but I have never heard of pissing on a newspaper.
Yeah,
bless you.
So here's why. Here's why they even came up with that. I'm like, who the fuck would do that? I said the same thing, and I was like, that makes complete sense. So because they get so worked up over soccer games like that over there, people get they get patted, and they're really really strict about what people bring into stadiums and shit like that. And a newspaper is an incredibly fucking innocuous thing. You're like, oh, how could you possibly make a weapon out of the fucking sports page? Well, there you go. Right? So they basically went full jailhouse rules on that shit.
That's crazy.
And they figured out if you just keep folding that shit over and over and over and then wetting it, right? Getting it wet makes it even more pliable so that you can keep folding it. And next thing you know, you got you a little fucking bludgeon and people over there cracking each other in the head in the fucking stadiums. I'm like, well, that shit's creative, right? All I'm gonna say is this: is that a piss-based weapon? Kojima's like, let's go with that. I mean, look, I played this.
We already got the Girardi from TF2, though. You already got the Girardi from Team Fortress 2, though. But Oliver, let me say with all of my heart, since it's our first time talking to one another directly, you got me fucked up tonight, sir. Because all I can think about now is some dude, let's say looking like me, going in all hooligan style into a sporting arena, and in the middle of the other team getting it in, stands up, makes that noise that How to Basic does on the Fairy Bread episode where he pulls his pants down, pulls my pants down, and just pisses on. You got my wife laughing. That.
What are you talking about?
Pissing on a newspaper. Man, I can tell you street fighting shit. I can tell you all kinds of stuff to keep in your pockets that ain't gonna get you in trouble. But oh Lord, it's gonna get you out of trouble. But man, that is not the one. And we're talking about me. I was talking about pull your balls out in front of Cthulhu earlier.
I don't pull your balls out. Piss on the newspaper, Thomas.
Why won't you piss on
Keep your
Cthulhu?
balls
Why
in
won't
your
you
pants.
all over it? But piss is stored in the balls.
Listen, you look. I've got a whole notepad here. That's a lot of paper, and I have not gone and
This is
pissed
stored
in
in the
2
balls.
hours. It could go
You
there.
write in your notepad, piss on the newspaper.
Piss on the newspaper. Give me more improv weapons.
My
Right.
question is, which studio would make it?
Oh,
Skullgirls.
man,
You guys did Skullgirls.
that's easy. Naughty Dog.
Ooh.
No, I'm bullshitting
Wow.
you. Of course
I was
not.
like, wait a minute.
No, I just want
I
to
thought
make
you were
people
going to
mad
say
with
like
something off the cuff.
Konami.
No,
This sounds like
Naughty Dog, just so they go, we don't like to talk about having fun when we're
Ultra.
pissing on the newspaper.
oh my god.
Diego says Suda 51.
No,
Oh,
he would
yeah,
totally,
yep.
he would totally fucking do it. He'd be like, hell yeah. He's
Yeah.
like,
It would
yeah,
have
here's
slow
the recipe
motion on
for a
the
Millwall
piss.
brick.
Okay. So wait, no. This game would be
No one knows.
West Side Story meets Uppers meets No More Heroes.
Yes.
That sounds like a good time.
I'm just saying,
Oh,
look,
Meets
even in No
Dr.
More
Phil.
Heroes.
Train spotting.
even in No More Heroes, what do? You take your fucking ass home and pet the cat.
Yeah.
Takes a shit, he goes back out. Go home, right? That those are really unexplored mechanics in these games that could add a whole layer of depth.
Hmm.
Truly, like shit posting aside, like having stuff like that,
Yeah.
is unexplored space.
Go home,
that's-
troll the internet, get your
That's super
rageometer up, go out
interesting
and fight.
because, like, imagine like you'd have to go home to save your game,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
And then another layer to this would be there would be a chance while you're away from your game that the rival gangs find you,
Ooh.
and then maybe you have a debuff or something next time you log on. Right?
Right?
Something like
They could have come by and vandalized your crib.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that
Right.
is like fun, like that's what it's fun. That's what I'm
They
thinking of.
killed my
And
Tamagotchi.
unexplored, and then I'm
Yeah.
done. The
Yeah.
one unexplored mechanic that I haven't seen in quite some time, besides Final Fantasy Tactics,
Hmm?
I want to see a morale-based system in a brawler.
Ooh, interesting.
Right? I mean, part
Huh.
of, again, talking about that street fight thing, I mean, just merely having a crowd on your side can be a huge difference.
Oh, it's
on whether or not
uppers.
you win
It's
a
uppers. 100% uppers.
fight. Okay.
Well, there we go. There we go. There we
But in
go.
this case, it's
Combining-
girls throwing their underwear at you.
Fucking
That would do it.
That's morale
Having
for you.
things like that in place,
I love it.
right? Just to see the ebb and flow of a fight, right? Because not all fights are physical.
I'm gonna
That's
have to play that on stream tomorrow.
I'm just thinking of like the horny 2D backdrop of Pit Fighter, of a bunch of like
Ooh.
2-frame spreads going like this. Good job. Right?
Now you think about is
Something
wrap the panties around your right fist and call it a fishy hook.
Oh my god! Stop! Mute this guy.
because
Anyway.
I definitely think that
Anyway,
Oh
You're grounded.
I definitely think that just there's a lot of ideas like that. I'm not saying all these are good. I'm just saying that I'm like, I've thought about these over the years, and it's like, how come I've never seen this? How come I've never seen that? How come no one's explored the general region surrounding those ideas?
Yep.
And it's because when
Risky.
you look at Dark Souls, right? This is stupid, but it's one of the things that really helped me to think more about that stuff. Your health bar in that game is not really the player's health. right? Yeah, like if you go, like digging into this and just go read about it, it's like, no, actually, if you go into your stat sheet, it's not your health, it's your desire to keep going, right? And it's like, what?
Like
No,
your will.
it is actually your genuine will.
Your
And so when you
motivation.
die, you have given the fuck up. You haven't been killed. Like, I'm like, yeah, of course that totally goes in line with the hollowing and humanity and all that stuff, but it's just buried away. It's in some flavor text. But when you look at it, you're like, but what does that fucking matter to the player? Well, that simple, just a few lines of text, adding to that flavor of the world shapes the rest of the world. When you see NPCs just suddenly drop fucking dead, they're not dying. They have given the fuck up, right? And they're just tapping out entirely because, of course, as stated, no one really dies here. They die and then get back up, and they're less human than they were before, right? And it just, I'm saying that basic idea permeates across the entire game world, and similar things could be happening here in brawling games. If you're getting, just like I said, getting blasted in the fucking jaw over and over and over again, if you keep taking jabs to the face, there should always be a chance that you catch a break. And if you catch that fucking break, right, which, is it going to fuck with your ability to fight? Nobody's going to fuck with your ability to eat. And so you're not going to catch nearly as efficient heals off of anything you ingest for a certain amount of time while you're waiting for that to fix. Right, exactly. Right. It's like, oh yeah, that's exactly how it fucking is in real life, right? Like, you're going to be eating less, and it's a common thing for people that have to have their jaws wired shut. They do lose weight during the recovery process because everything that they're taking in, everything is liquid. Right? And it doesn't pan out the same. We have a ton of unexplored space within the genre, so let's fucking explore it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
I'm done.
That's a good
cool.
idea. Those some good
Like
ideas, yeah.
you should really check out Punch Club, because Punch Club has a 3-way stat bar where it's like if you do one thing, it drops the other thing. So it sounds like that too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. No, I'm totally up for that, and that definitely would change. That's innovative.
Right? We got to do it. Make it fun.
So what
I'll
you're
keep
saying
mine-
is innovation won the day.
I'll keep mine simple. Has anybody ever heard of Metamorphic Force?
What, the Yu-Gi-Oh card?
It's a game.
Oh.
The game.
A long time back.
Metamorphic
But
Force.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Not.
So this is the beat 'em up. That's basically Altered Beast, the beat 'em up.
Score.
I'm
like
saying
that.
I want. Yeah, go ahead. What you said?
I said I like that.
So Altered Beast mixed with X-Men, right? This you get Metamorphic Force. So this, I want the beat 'em up in this style, like this kind of art. Look at the fluidity of the animations, pretty cool. It's basically X-Men, right? Now I want the world to be very similar to like rival schools, where there's different schools, and they all have different aesthetics about them, right? And it's like a gang war, like turf war, right? And I will borrow that's super cool transformation. I will borrow a little tidbit from the Helldivers game, where I want the city to be the universe, and I want all these gangs to fight for certain areas and turfs for this in this giant map. So one of the biggest things that I've noticed that causes people to come back and play these games is the ability to be part of something bigger than their actual character, right? And to be part of something. So Helldivers has you defending Super Earth from 3 different alien factions, and you always want to log in and be like, okay, this portion of the universe needs defending because they're invading really close to Super Earth, right? I want something like that in a beat 'em up where I log on and then my crew is there, whoever faction you may be, and we go to certain parts of the city and be like, we want to take over the spot, because when we take over the spot, we get team buffs, right? Now, here's the other thing. It's always ongoing. And it means if you log off, people are logging on, and they're taking over your turf. You always got to check in, right? And I'm talking about like four faction, 3 faction rumble here. Like there is no team, there is no allies. It's all every man for themselves except your faction. But you do have the option to pick on the other one faction if so need. Kind of like the For Honor system, kind of like the Soul Calibur's conquest mode, right? Where you pick the faction, you played the fighting game, and then your faction conquers that area. So I want to bring that back in some way or form and to beat them up. Now, adding to the next layer of that is maybe you take over certain parts of the game, which eventually makes it easier for you to take other portions of the city, which makes it difficult for the other team to take that part. Maybe they get a debuff. That maybe maybe the spawns in that area are like more. There's like 5 times more characters on the screen, right? Something like that, or something like that, or environmental hazard. So I kind of want to still keep it simple, because I want to focus more on the kind of like the community portion of beat 'em ups, right? Because we talk about I want a 4-player beat 'em up, but we never really talk about like, in a massive scale. I kind of influenced by Dynasty Warriors having military factions, but in this case, it's like schools, but like who takes over the city, kind of like uppers almost. And
But an MMO brawler.
That fucking game keeps coming up that I gotta go find out about that. Right? I'm like, damn it!
But this is the art I want,
everything.
right? And this is the art I want. And this is kind of
I'm
like
gonna play it tomorrow on stream. So
yeah. So I hope somewhere along the lines we get some sort of beat 'em up that's like Helldivers, very similar, and not whatever this is on the screen. So like,
brought to you in part by Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh God.
But yeah, I think that would be a good way to innovate beat 'em ups, is like to look at them in a different perspective, right? You don't necessarily have to change the game the way it plays, but like give yourself more reason to play it again. Because one of the biggest things I noticed when beat 'em ups is when I beat it, it doesn't change after I replay it, put it back in again. I played Knights of the Round multiple times. I played King of Dragons multiple times. It's always the same pattern, same spawn points, right? So the biggest thing I really want, the biggest thing I really want beat 'em ups to change is when I come back on, I don't expect what's about to happen. Like one day I'll be like, wow, we're killing it. We're good. I'm taking easy. But the next day we're like, oh my gosh, we're like pinned to this corner and we have no other, it's really rough out there. We can't really fight much, So.
Another one. I just now remembered. What's that one? Ace. It's the one that was done by Vanilla's? No.
Dragon's Crown?
Thank you, Dragon's Crown, yes.
All you had to say was vanilla. I got you.
Vanilla. We said it earlier, and I was thinking, Dragon's Crown. And
anyway,
a lot that goes on in that game.
Yeah.
The ultimate beat 'em up apparently comes in different forms, depending on the audience, depending on the market, right? So as kind of proven here, we all kind of have a different way of what our best ultimate beat 'em up is. So this is what makes it challenging for developers to make to the right audience, because it's only going to speak to the specifics of people. They can only get it so close, right? But as we all know, if you make a game for everyone, you end up making a game for no one. Right, so it's really difficult for that balance to take place. So I really enjoyed all everyone's perspective tonight. So any more last statements about beat 'em ups or the genre in general at all?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it really just comes down to genre's not dead, but we need some fresh fucking ideas.
I love it. That's my sentiment exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's one of those games you just pick up, turn your brain off, and play, and you're like, "This."
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever die. I think they'll always be around because
never die.
They're easy to make and tried and true formula.
It speaks to that primal sort of. It speaks to the. Okay.
Beauty and the Beast. It's
I'm a rage.
This time. Someone has always beaten someone's ass.
Exactly.
Since humans have walked the earth, someone has caught the hands.
Like so long as there are 2 people alive on this earth, someone is going to want to punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
Now, Oliver, I heard you have $87 on hand. I got a rock. We need to talk.
Now listen here. I've got the knuckle dusters. All right.
Hey,
or let's put it another way.
Start pissing on newspaper.
I got a roll of quarters and a sock. Let's fucking go.
Speaking of roller quarters,
I had $87. Now I have $77. Guess where the $10
That's a
went?
lot of quarters in there.
I think that's exactly how much Moose has in his pocket. It's like 33 bucks.
That guy's a
A
freak.
lot of people won't understand that reference. But yeah, real quick, guys, from top to bottom, what's everybody been playing?
Well, with me, I've been playing. Let's see. Just recently, I've been playing Hades, Killer Instinct. Gone back to First Descendant for a little bit. I started up Grandia 2 from the HD. Started the
nice.
Grandia 2 HD remaster. Such a fun
That's a
game
game that needs to come back for sure.
right? And yeah, that's primarily it. Oh, and also on my breaks at work, I take my Switch with me, and I've been playing Astral Chain.
All right, man. Look at this man has a
Popo's
wide scale of games. See that like spread? It's a good spread. Yeah. What about you, Jace? NoShoes?
Been playing Days Gone, the PS5 version specifically.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The voice acting is pretty terrible, but it's a fun game. It really hooked me in, like the aspect of being able to run around and do a bunch of like side questing and stuff, or just hit the trail and do the straight up like missions. So that's been a lot of fun. Playing the Lunar remaster, Final Fantasy IV on my mobile, but it's the Nintendo DS version.
Okay,
Nice.
that's a good one.
I never finished it. I couldn't get past Rubicon, so I'm making a run this time. And Mario Kart World on my Switch 2, and then
Hey, another one.
Bully on the PS2 as well.
Another one. Yeah, we were joking about last time. There was only one person on this panel that had a Switch 2, and it was Oliver.
Two.
Here I am.
Yeah, now there's two people, and that's great.
Two people with 3 goddamn Switch 2.
There you go. All right, man. Oliver, what you got?
I have been playing nothing but Tears of the Kingdom since I got my Switch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm hyper focused on that because I'm trying to get my brain ready to act dumb as hell in Death Stranding 2 next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna be all over that. It's gonna be the most ignorant I've ever been in my life. Any game,
Paper plate in a snowstorm.
any game where I can drop that 2-legged thunder is a fucking goated game as far as I'm concerned, right? And that was all I did. I booted up Death Stranding like 4 or 5 days ago. I was like, I got to get myself mentally prepped. Ran over and just kicked somebody in the fucking chest within 3 minutes of loading. I was like, hell yeah, let's get back to it. Like, it's the most aggressive fucking FedEx simulator I've ever seen. That's the brawling game we need. We need the fucking USPS, the FedEx, UPS, DHL, all against each other in the downtown rumble.
So Paperboy Muso.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Tom Hanks could be DLC.
Oh my god, that's good. I like that. Paperboy Muso sounds super, and the neighborhood's all fucked up. Oh man, that's new.
Paperboy has newspapers, which means
Yep.
I hate how much I like this title. Like, I want to play it. Hate it.
You're welcome.
I can't help to notice there's a consistent discussion of piss with Oliver tonight.
Only because Duder is here for some reason. And
For some reason.
he wasn't talking about piss last time.
The second you brought the balls out, and I'm just saying, I'm talking about Death Stranding, and Sam can piss on the ghosts.
Yep.
He can do that.
I did
And
that.
I'm like,
That was
hell
fun.
yeah.
The
I've never
podcast
been able
was
to do that in a game
free
before.
last episode.
That should be its own episode right there. Death Stranding is such a good game. I don't want to. I'm gonna get started about this, man.
I'll
fight
invite you
anytime about the walking
when it
simulator.
happens.
But
All right.
but seriously, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom and just really trying to put the Switch 2 through its paces, really actually eyeballing the game and see what's been improved. I can't find a flaw in the game so far. I mean, even the fun exploits and shit, they patched those out. They really accounted for and addressed that stuff. So it's definitely, they did work on this. It wasn't just, we're just going to ship the exact same thing, right? And no, they actually came through and did some major behind the scenes work. And my favorite thing so far, as part of my testing, was Simply put, to play the enhanced version of Tears of the Kingdom, and then put in the original Switch version and see what happens. And your save 100% transfers between the two without a single fucking hitch. It's great. I'm like, I've never seen that. Usually it's like, oh, you can convert this to this version, but now it doesn't go back. Nope, not the case here. I'm like, uh-huh. So, I'm really focusing on this game because I know how I am. Once I start on it, I'm gonna stick with it for some time until I'm done with it. But when Death Stranding 2 drops, man, I'm gonna be all up in there. I mean, my kid, he doesn't have the biggest interest in video games, but I just pulled up a random screenshot from Death Stranding 2, right? And I pointed at the screen. I was like, "Hey, who is that?" And he was like, "Oh, it's Sam." He knows who the hell Norman Reedus is, no matter what. He has a strong affinity for that game because that's the nature walk game. That's what he calls it. I'm like, "Hey, man, what do you want to do?" He's like, "Let's go on a nature walk." And I'm like, he wants to play Death Stranding. I'm like, I want to get mad, but I mean, you are going on a nature walk. I was like, it's good looking nature, so just do that. And then
Norman Reedus? Sorry.
he literally, here's how he plays it. He played that before he played anything else. All he does is walk around and push the hello button. He just thinks it's the best thing ever. He's like, "Oh, I'm Sam."
Me too.
It's the cutest shit I've ever seen. He'll do that for like 45 minutes. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. That is awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm like, "Hey man, you want to hang out with Sam?" He'll snatch that fucking controller out of my hand so fast. I'm like, "Boy, like you are 4. Mind yourself. I like to play too."
Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus. There's also a lot of parallels, believe it or not, between Death Stranding and I'm going to say it. Nier Automata.
Oh.
I'm just saying. I know we all just hurt. We all hurt a little bit. If you play that game, you just got hurt. I just bombed everybody right now, and I don't care because it's true though. It's true. The final sequence.
Just kidding. JK, just kidding. Wait, you're saying
Random muting. No. No, Nier Automata, there's the final sequence is a certain thing that occurs where others get involved, and it costs the player. If you know what, I'm trying not to spoil it, and yes, even now, it should be considered a spoiler. If you never played it, you should, and get to the true quote-unquote ending to see that for yourself. It is empathy, and that is the most beautiful aspect of the art that is video games. When not just the game itself, but how will we treat each other as players in the game? And I don't mean just like zombie killing each other or chump changing each other for each other's lunch money, like we tend to do, especially in hero shooters. But games like that make you honestly feel connected to other players. For the longest time, I thought people were actively pinging me back in Death Stranding. I learned later on, oh no, it just means one of their structures is nearby. Well, it's still a good feeling to me when I'm doing that hello. I understand your son, Oliver. I'm just saying, I understand your son.
Yeah.
I understand that. You're near, hello, I'm Sam. I'm Sam too. Plus,
We're all Sam.
We are all Sam. But let's also not forget that there is a multi-dimensional aspect to Death Stranding as well. Some of the lore in it, if you read, it was something I read in it. I'm like, oh my God. Because it was like someone mentioned that Sam had already delivered mail to them. And Sam didn't. My Sam didn't. Other Sams did. It is canon. If you read it, Other Sams did. Yeah, it's canon. And let's not forget that the beaches are. Now I'm starting spoiler stuff. I'm going to stop talking live about this. But suffice to say, if you play the game and look into the nature of the beach of all beaches, you'll. That sounds bad, but you know what I mean. Calm down, 11-year-olds listening to this.
Are you playing that right now? What are you playing right now?
No, I beat the crap out of that game like several months back. Free, because I'm broke.
You playing anything right now?
Funny story. So Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios owes me 50 hours, of my life. They owe me. Okay, I don't give a crap. I was 100%ing that month. I had Act 1 done, and I never got the party from the Tieflings. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna meet up with me in Act 2. All right, we'll get our party on then. I'm gonna get me some Karlach then. We own this. Now we got it lightly modded because Baby Girl likes that polyamorous stuff in the game. Not in real life, but in the game. I'm looking over. She got a new wife. I'm talking about, what you doing? So anyway, I already got them all bouncing off this drow penis. And so I get to Act 2. I get to the end of the last light and come to find out, oh, they're not there. We're like, what? Now, mind you, I have done everything. I have done everything the way I want it. When I first played this game, I got a crit success off that 99 roll. The greatest moment I've ever felt in that damn game. I was like, 99, what? I hit it, got that 20, like, yeah. So I'm sitting there looking around the inn, and the tieflings aren't there. We look into it, and apparently, because while I was slaughtering goblins to make things safe for them, I decided to take a long rest, because why not? We baller like that. And so apparently they died. It is canon that they can die if you don't get that party. Because the party, apparently it's what gives them the idea. Well, they're already going to Baldur's Gate, but whatever. It's what sinks it in for the story. So they all 50 hours of my life just doing Act 1 to a point where I feel good enough to move on to Act 2 and go get my crazy on over there. Nah, man. So yeah, Larry.
So are you playing Baldur's Gate right now?
Oh hell no! I got pissed off and deleted it. I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 right now.
Hell no.
I beat Balatro, and I can't go back to Balatro or Slay the Spire because they both absorb my life too much, and I got to.
Okay, so you're playing Cyberpunk.
Well, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, unmodded. Ooh, get it.
Oh, all right, fresh. Also, this man said drow penis on my stream. I hate you.
He did. He sure did.
We said more than just drow penis today.
That's what I heard, and that's what I remember.
Be for real.
I don't know what the fuck they did to that man, but I have a newspaper here if you need it. I got the Sunday one too, so you know it's real thick.
Oh, it's got the comics in it.
P is in my balls, so I'm prepared for it. We can do this. We can get it down.
Someone needs to take him to the doctor because
all right,
that is not where the pee comes from. Like,
yeah, it's in the third testicle. It's all right, Oliver. I know. Ace used to put up with this all the time.
All right, we're a little bit over, so we gotta move forward here. So I do want to add. So last time we had a pretty cool. Personal opinion, had a pretty cool segment where I always want to add some sort of value to people that watch our show. And if you're still watching, awesome. And if you're not, I'm sorry. So, but regardless, I'm having fun, and hopefully everybody here is having fun. But I want to add a new segment to the show because the show is always growing, it's always changing. A little segment that I call Final Boss. All right. And so the final boss, and that's funny. That's what ChatGPT thinks what I look like. So
why do you have 4 minutes?
You know?
Oh no, that's a chair. That's a chair.
It's brilliant.
Yes, that's the chair. Here's a better view. All right.
Okay, that's better.
Anyway, I want to just add something, some little words of wisdom. If you're a gamer and if you want to kind of a thank you for following our show and just checking out what we do here, and thank you for everybody that showed up tonight. So yeah, I want to kind of shed a little bit before we roll credits tonight. So, man, we got cattail. Yeah, we got cats here too. And here's a little bit something from our good friend Virgil, aka.
Now I'm motivated.
Thank you, Virgil, because I am motivated too to tell you exactly what we need to hit. What he needs. So I want to hit y'all with a little bit of XP boost for something to take you off, to take with you after the controllers are put the headsets off tonight. So in games like Dark Souls, I just talked a little bit about Dark Souls earlier. Hades, just like Ace over there, or even Dead Cells, you die over and over and over again. But the thing is, each run teaches you something different, something you can change. Each defeat isn't a failure, it's an experience. Like literally, just kind of like what Oliver's talking about with Will. So it's kind of cool that he added that to his context earlier. But that's also life as well. Life keeps pushing you down, but you want to get up. If it puts you down 9 times, you get up 10 times. Whether you're grinding at work, chasing your dreams, or just trying to get out of bed, some days progress. Sometimes it doesn't always feel great. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's painful, but if you're still going, you're still leveling. Kratos taught us that even gods can grow. Cloud taught us that it's okay to be lost sometimes. And Mario showed us that no matter how many times you fall in the pit, you get back up and you go again. You don't have to finish your quest today. Just don't turn off the console. Keep going. You might be one save point away from your next breakthrough. You never know when that's going to happen. But real talk, the world's full of boss fights, but you got the skills, the gear, and the heart to beat them. All right. And you got the support and your friends over here at the Gaming Academy to help you out. So go out there, be your own main character, don't forget you've already come farther than you've given yourself credit for. And please give yourself more credit. I feel like people don't give themselves enough, right? Because this is your XP boost. Carry that with you wherever you go. All right. And just like No Shoe Shirt, go easy on yourself, you know, and give yourself more credit. Honestly, give yourself more credit. All right. So I want you guys to take that with you. That's called the final boss statement for today. But yes, class, that is pretty much the end of the stream here. We definitely had a packed-filled night. But before you do, you know, I want to kind of close this out by kind of going over the beat 'em ups here, because beat 'em ups have always been simple, right? One goal: you move forward. Some of them, sometimes you go backwards, like in River City. But even then, in that simplicity, there's a deeper lesson, because no matter how many enemies crowd the screen, no matter how cheap the boss is, you keep going. All right. Whether it's life throwing you combos or just a grind of a long week, the lesson remains: walk forward, keep swinging, don't go at it alone. All right. We're here for you. Tonight, we brought you together a team like no other. Not because we had to, but because we chose to press start together. So whatever your battle looks like out there, remember, you got the crew, you got the lives, and the skills to clear the stage. Until next time, stay leveled, stay legendary, and Ace,
Class dismissed.
thank you very much. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you.